of all, look at Christ himself. He wasn't a Palestinian teacher. He was a Jewish teacher with a Jewish name, Yeshua. His father was Yosef, Joseph. These are all Hebrew names. Where did Jesus turn the tables on the money changers? Where? In Nepal? Perhaps in Singapore? Of course not. It was in the Jewish temple.
I think people forget that the world of Jesus was a Jewish world. His name is Jewish. This is the point Netanyahu makes in the film. His dad is Yosef. You know, his mother is Miriam. So you have this kind of Jewish ambiance. Jesus is standing in a synagogue. He's holding the scriptures. But what are the scriptures? He's not holding the book of Acts. He's holding the Old Testament. He's holding the Hebrew scriptures. He's teaching out of the Hebrew scriptures. Those are the only scriptures that exist in Jesus' time.
Where do you think Christianity comes from? Well, it obviously is based, I mean, there's a New Testament, of course, but it really, I mean, it has the Hebrew Bible as a massive, massive component of it.
Give me the name of one person who is not Jewish that wrote your book that you read, the Bible. Name one person who wasn't Jewish that was hand in hand with God, with writing his word, okay? You believe the Bible is the word of God, okay? So name a person who isn't a Jew that wrote your book. You people are jealous of Jews because God didn't choose you or your lineage to write his word. God only chose Jews.
Why? Why as Christians should we even care? Well, our faith is a Judeo-Christian faith. You know that, right? You know, the Old Testament was written in Israel by Jews, right? Our faith comes from the faith of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. The promised land is where Jesus walked and did his ministry, where he was crucified, where he was resurrected. The scriptures are Jewish scriptures. Our Messiah is a Jewish Messiah. As Gentiles, we are grafted into the root system of Israel. This is very important to our faith as Christians. Not to be ignored, not to be dismissed, but to be encouraged. Let's have clarity on our faith system and where it comes from. What do you think?
Amen.
Because remember, the first Jews, the first Christians were all Jews. So they were first century Jews. Remember, the New Testament is a Jewish document. It's not alien to the people of Israel. It was written by Jews for Jews. I agree, in a sense, the Torah is eternal. Amen. Jesus Christ was a Jew. Jesus Christ is alive today. Jesus Christ embodied the completion and the fulfillment of the law. In him, all the laws are perfectly kept. And in that sense, the law of Moses is both fulfilled and eternal.
Christianity is a Jewish religion. That sometimes strikes people as odd. It's a new thought for them, but it is a Jewish religion and a profoundly Jewish religion. The entire New Testament was written by Jews. Being raised Baptist, I remember Baptist Sunday school, we used to try to take pride in the Gospel of Luke, that Luke is a Gentile name. But Luke also wrote Acts, and he was an eyewitness to some of the things that happened with the Apostle Paul on the Temple Mount. As a Gentile, he would not have been allowed there. He would have forfeited his life. So the entire New Testament is authored by Jews.
I mean, I heard about some of these guys like John the Baptist. He's a Baptist. I found out later on he's Jewish. St. Paul, Jewish? Yeah, Jewish. St. Peter, how can anybody by the name of St. Peter be Jewish? Guess what? I found out they're all Jewish. I expected it to be a Gentile book. I expected it to take place in Rome with a bunch of popes talking about Catholic things and statues. What surprised me is how Jewish the New Testament really is. It's the most Jewish book I ever read.
I never thought I could be Jewish and believe in Jesus. I thought the two were entirely at opposite ends of the spectrum. But once I understood that Jesus was Jewish, it came full circle to me. I said, oh my God, I'm believing in a Jewish Messiah.
I discovered that Jesus was Jewish, that he had a given name, a Hebrew name, Yeshua, which means salvation, because he will save his people from their sins. I discovered that he was born in Israel of Jewish parents. I thought he grew up in Rome, in the Vatican. All of the first followers of Yeshua were all Jews, and none of them converted to another religion. They didn't convert to Christianity. There was no Christianity. No, they were Jewish men and women who had found their promised Messiah from their own scriptures, the Tanakh. And that changed my life. This is my heritage. This Yeshua is my Messiah promised in my own scriptures.
Jesus was Jewish. His disciples were Jewish. He lived in Israel, and he fulfilled all the prophecies that the Jewish prophets had said, that he would die as a suffering servant, and that he would rise again. It's amazing that when Jewish people study the life of Jesus, what he said, what he did, we come to the conclusion. I came to the conclusion, my father came to the conclusion, Jesus is who he claimed to be. He is the Messiah that we have waited for. The most Jewish thing in the world that you can do is follow the Jewish Messiah.
The whole understanding of the Messiah was something that God had already given as a gift to the Jewish people through the writings of the Old Testament, and particularly the prophets. The Jewish world was prepared for the coming of their deliverer. So when the wise men appear early in the Gospel of Matthew, they come looking for the King of the Jews. I believe they were coming to look for the King of the Jews because the King of the Jews would be the Savior of the world. But the New Testament doesn't talk about that the world was waiting for a generic champion from heaven to come to save the world. The whole Bible speaks about the Jewish Messiah would be the one who would be the means through which the whole world would be saved, which takes us back to Genesis 12. Paul says that promise in Galatians 3 verse 8 is the gospel. He says the gospel was preached to Abraham. Through you, all the nations of the world will be blessed.
Salvation is of the Jews. The patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are all Jewish people. Everything Christians have that are dear to us were given by the Jewish people. The prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Zechariah, Malachi, all Jews, not a Baptist in the bunch. The first family of Christianity, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, all Jews. Jesus kept the law of Moses. Jesus said, "Do not think that I've come to destroy the law." And there are people who teach that. Jesus is saying, do not think that I have come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. He celebrated his bar mitzvah at 13. He wore a prayer shawl from that day until the day he died. He was buried in that prayer shawl. And by the way, he's coming back the second time as a Jew. The Bible says in the book of Revelation, he's the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Judah is the root word for Jew. Jesus Christ, a Jewish rabbi, is going to be King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Hallelujah to the Lamb of God.
Prophetically, you are going to feel stupid when you figure out that Jesus is coming back, not to the White House. He's not coming back to China. He's not coming back to Russia, right? He's not coming back to Paris. He's not coming back to London. He's coming back to God's house, the third rebuilt temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Israel. It's just the simple facts. So if you want to get mad at anybody, get mad at God.
Jesus is the seed of Abraham. Through Jesus, all of the earth is saved. And so, you know, it is through the Jews that people are saved. It's through the Messiah, the Virgin Mary, who is a righteous Jewish woman. It did come through the Jews, and we are saved through Jesus. Jesus is the way to the Father. He is the God of Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham.
Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. He's not the Christian Messiah, he's the Jewish Messiah. And because he was the Messiah, Christianity opened up because it traveled throughout the world. This is why Paul says there's no Jew or Gentile in Christ Jesus. What the disciples do is they go and take it. This is what the Great Commission says, Matthew 28:18-19. It says, go therefore baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So when Jesus came, he came for you guys. He came for your people. And then he ascends to heaven and he says, okay, my disciples, my Jewish disciples, now I want you to go out into the world and lead people back to truth. And so this is not an exclusive Western, white, American Christianity. This is a Christianity who has a Jewish Messiah at the epicenter of it, and then people coming out and sharing it with others.
Jesus was actually he was an observant Jew. I mean, like it does talk in the New Testament about Jesus, you know, being a Jew and doing Jewish things and such.
Jew hatred, okay? It is a demonic, anti-Semitic principality and power that is ruling the age. But don't worry, God said it was going to happen. But at the end of the day, you can hate Israel all you want to. You can hate the Jews all you want to. You can hate Jerusalem all you want to. But here's what I know. The book of Zechariah says in the last days that the nations that turn against Jerusalem and the people of God, the Lord shall burn their eyes out. Hello, okay? You can quote me on that. God said, I'm going to burn your eyes out. And so to all of these Jew haters, listen, you can hate me for standing for the Jews. You can hate me for wearing my Star of David and doing entire shows about it. You can hate me because I work with the Red Heifer program. But at the end of the day, I'm not just on the right side of history. I'm on the right side of God, okay? I'm on the right side of the Bible, ladies and gentlemen.
Tucker, you know this. Jesus was a Jew. The Bible he knew was the Jewish Bible. His disciples were Jewish. The society he lived in was Jewish, in the land of Israel. If you want to understand Jesus and the New Testament better, come to Israel. I will take you to Capernaum. Jesus chose to be there and not cross the Jordan River, where it was safer for him because he was reaching out to Jews. In Jerusalem, I will show you a stone Jesus certainly walked on when he went up to the temple. Neil Armstrong, a devout Christian himself, was there and said, I'm more excited stepping on these stones than I was stepping on the moon. You can't understand the New Testament without understanding the Jewish context of that era.
Neil Armstrong,
and you can only do that in Israel.
So we have a Jewish
now I'm suspicious.
Royal high priest
they never
in
went.
the line of David, not in the heavenly New York, but in the heavenly Rome. No, the heavenly Jerusalem. Jesus is a Jew. Mary is a Jewess. And so we are all part of a family. And as Pius XI said, spiritually speaking, we're all Semites.
But I began to feel more Jewish after coming to faith in Jesus. And then as I began to study scripture, both Tanakh, you know, the Jewish scriptures and the New Testament, which I also learned is a very Jewish book written by all Jewish people, maybe not Luke, but I learned that believing in Jesus is the most Jewish thing
That's what Mother Mary looked like.
Ever do. And he is for every Jew and for every Gentile who will turn to him. And he's waiting for you with open arms. He's got a plan for your life, and he loves you so much. Turn to him today. My name is Susan, and this is my story of how the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob reached out and saved this Jew through the Jewish Messiah, Jesus, Yeshua.
The God of Israel is our God. He became flesh incarnate.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, Jesus the Jew, born a Jew, raised a Jew, died a Jew, coming back as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He chose one nation to bring salvation to every nation. When you get God's heart for Israel and you start putting the gospel and the New Testament, Paul to the Jew first, oh my gosh, people are going to go, oh man, you're so ethnocentric and you've got the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. Well, listen, it's the Jew first because that's who God came to.
Totally.
It's the Jew first because those were the ones who were called to bring the light of salvation to the nations.
If you're not first, you're last.
He was raised a Jew. He died King of the Jews. And he's coming back, as I said this before, as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Sometimes I'll go, Jew, duh. You know, it's like, listen, let's open our eyes that his genealogy, this is the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. God needed one nation. He chose Abraham come to bring salvation to all of the nations. So if we have something against Israel, man, may our righteous anger rise up and say, Lord, open the news.
It was your very last breath in my lungs, and until the light burns down, I will stand with Israel. Would you stand and give the Lord some praise in this place tonight?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you all for joining me today, Monday, October 6th, 2025. Huge show today. Got us going with the latest See Through It All edit, showing what all these real Christians look like. There is undoubtedly no more greater of a psyop of mind control, and the greatest instrument and weapon and mind control operation than Christianity in all of history. Look at this. Look at the situation. Look at the fruits. Look at what Christianity has led to. Nothing compares to it. Huge show today. We're going to be discussing, is Trump irritated with Netanyahu? More leaked reports of Trump fed up with Netanyahu actions in Gaza. And we got some new Pope stuff. The Pope put out a tweet. He is concerned about the rising anti-Semitism, like the previous Pope and the Pope before him and the Pope before him. He's talking to you, trad cats. He's talking to you, e-crusader, trad Catholics, traditional Catholics out there. He's worried about your anti-Semitism. You're not real Christians. So we're going to get to that. We have some clips from the author in the book, The Myth of Persecution. We're going to discuss the myth of Christian martyrdom. We've got the big former military or whatever he was, Sean Ryan, big podcaster, has on this Christian guy who was abused as a child by his priest, and then they're talking about Gog and Magog and the end of the world. We got some highlights from Tucker Carlson with some no-name guy that comes on there to talk about AI and Antichrist and Mark of the Beast and Kabbalah. So there's lots of stuff that's been happening over the last few days since the last stream I want to cover with you guys. I want to look into. I just bookmarked it and haven't looked at it yet. So we're going to watch and keep up with all the latest I want to talk about with you guys. What interests me, what I want to see, what I want to talk about. Because it's my show. Anyway, it's only made possible, my show, but it's for you guys and myself and my mental health to vent and investigate all this and have this community. But it's only made possible thanks to you guys and your support. Power Chat link is linked in the description below and pinned at the top over on Odyssey and Rumble, where we're streaming live, as well as X. Okay, where are we? We have a serious Christian problem that everybody wants to turn a blind eye to, and all these e-crusaders want to sweep for and enable and attack us for exposing it. I'll get the Power Chat turned on. Let's see here. Playback enabled. Let's go. Trump tweeted 3 days ago now, based on the statement just issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for lasting peace, all caps. Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East. Donald Trump. Thank you for listening to this message. Surprised he didn't end it with that. And everybody was reporting and talking about, I'm not sure if it was true, but Israel was apparently bombing Gaza a whole bunch right after Trump tweeted this. I wouldn't doubt it. That sounds like on brand for them. But apparently they have stopped. I think Trump announced that they had stopped now. So this could happen. He put out another statement also on October 3rd. What was that, Friday? Yeah, Friday. He says, Hamas has been ruthlessly and violent threat for many years in the Middle East. They have killed and also made lives unbearably miserable. Israel hasn't played any part of that, I'm sure. Culminating with October 7th massacre, all caps. Babies, women, children, old people, and many young men and women, boys and girls, getting ready to celebrate their future lives together as retribution for the October 7th attack on civilization. More than 25,000 Hamas, quote-unquote, soldiers. So they're not soldiers? I mean, they don't have a military, really. They don't have an air force. They don't have a navy. They don't have any advanced weapons. So it is not really true. They're more like captives, like rebels. Calling them soldiers is actually a little bit of a stretch, to be honest. They don't even really have a military. Have already been killed. Most of the rest are surrounded. But why do you think he puts it in quotes, though? Like, they're not soldiers. They're not legitimate. They're just terrorists. Is that what he's getting at? It's funny that he said, quote, soldiers instead of, that's his way of not saying terrorists. Anyway, military trapped, just waiting to give the word go for their lives to be quickly extinguished. Wow. As for the rest, we know where and who you are, and you will be hunted down and killed. They know who they are and where they are, but they haven't killed them yet. What are they waiting for? They've been killing lots of them, I thought. I'm asking that who are they killing then? Just civilians? I'm asking that all innocent Palestinians immediately leave this area of potentially great future death for safer parts of Gaza. Everyone will be cared for by those that are waiting to help. Fortunately for Hamas, however, they will be given one last chance. Great, powerful, and very rich nations of the Middle East and the surrounding areas beyond, together with the USA, have agreed with Israel signing on to peace. I love how he's so crazy, how he puts the peace in all. His use of caps really is something. And he doesn't even type these. Does he say, make sure that one's say peace in caps? Because, he doesn't type any of this. He has somebody, he dictates it and somebody else types it out for him, if anything. After 3,000 years in the Middle East, peace, the prophetic peace in the Middle East. The deal also spares the lives of all remaining Hamas fighters. Oh, I'm sure Israel will not be happy with that. The details of the document are known to the world. All caps, world. And it is great for one for all caps. We will have peace in the Middle East one way or the other. The violence and bloodshed will stop. Releases the hostages, all of them, including the bodies of those that are dead. Now, an agreement must be reached with Hamas by Sunday at 6. Well, I haven't heard any news that a deal was reached, so 6. Washington, D.C. time, every country has signed on. If this last chance agreement is not reached, all hell like no one has ever seen before. I'm pretty sure a lot of Palestine, a lot of Gaza has been seeing hell since October 7th. Maybe seeing hell for decades, the whole time. Will break out against Hamas. There will be peace in the Middle East one way or the other. Thank you for your attention to this. There it is. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald Trump. Wow. 34,000 likes. What does he say up here? Is it? Okay, that's just a quote. One more from the next day, October 4th. This is Saturday. I appreciate that Israel has temporarily stopped the bombing in order to give the hostages release and peace deal a chance to be completed. Hamas must move quickly or else all bets will be off. I will not tolerate delay, which many think will happen. He made this same threat, remember? He said on day one when he becomes president, if all the hostages aren't released, all hell is going to unleash. Remember? He kept saying that and it didn't happen. I mean, it has been happening, I guess, to a degree, but not as he promised. A lot of big talk. Art of the deal. Like North Korea and Rocket Man. I will not tolerate delay, which many think will happen, or any outcome where Gaza poses a threat again. Let's get this done fast. Everyone will be treated fairly, I'm sure. Here's his message.
Hostages come home. I want to thank the countries that helped me put this together. Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many others. So many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Very importantly, I look forward to having the hostages come home to their parents and having some of the hostages, unfortunately, you know the condition they're in, come home likewise to their parents because their parents wanted them just as much as though that young man or young woman were alive. So I just want to let you know that this is a very special day. maybe unprecedented in many ways. It is
biblical,
unprecedented.
maybe even.
But thank you all, and thank
The
you
greatest
all to those
deal
great
ever
countries
made.
that helped. We were given a
I
tremendous
saved the world
amount of
from
help.
Armageddon.
Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing
I
peace in
deserve
the
the
Middle
Nobel
East.
Prize for. They gotta
And
give
we're
it to
very
me after
close to
this one.
achieving
You
that.
know, am I
Thank
right?
you all, and everybody will be treated fairly.
Scoop. So again, we've seen this so many times. I find it hard to believe that Trump wouldn't be annoyed and irritated and with Netanyahu, but he always just keeps groveling and pandering and caving. They always like drip out these leaks. The last time they did these, Trump's mad and cursing and turning and betraying and done with Netanyahu. They kept having these leaks, right? Of them saying that. And then it turns out that was a psyop to make it look like they were beefing so they could bomb Iran. That's what happened last time they did this. This like tabloid, leak to the tabloid, like type of rumor, like scoop, Trump on Netanyahu Gaza talks. You're always so fucking negative. By way of deception, we will wage war. I know. They bragged about the deception when they did this and then were secretly coordinating the whole time while they were supposedly beefing to bomb Iran. It's like he acts like he distanced himself with Netanyahu as a strategy to get Hamas to agree to a deal. So it looks like he's not like in with him, in cahoots with him in this screw job. So I don't pay for Axios, but we've been seeing this so many times. Always leak stuff. But we know Trump's got to feel this way because remember after he lost the election, he was seething at Netanyahu for congratulating Biden, and he said that Palestine wanted peace, but Israel didn't, and that Netanyahu didn't want peace. So apparently, when Hamas came back with a yes, but to President Trump's Gaza peace proposal on Friday, Trump called Netanyahu to discuss what he saw as good news. Netanyahu felt differently. Quote, Bibi told Trump this is nothing to celebrate and that it doesn't mean anything. A U.S. official with knowledge of the call told Axios. Trump fired back. I don't know why you're always so fucking negative. This is a win. Take it. Why it matters. This exchange, with which a second U.S. official confirmed, reflects how determined Trump is to push Netanyahu's reservations and convince him to end the war if Hamas will make a deal. Okay, so that's all we get for free from Axios. But are we seeing the big betrayal and abandonment, and Trump's going to divide the land of Israel and abandon and turn on Israel and turn on Netanyahu and start a Trump beef? We saw a Trump beef happened with Trump and Elon when it seemed like they were BFFs all of a sudden, and then they're beefing hard. It's not but the way the rabbis and the Christian Zionists, they will say Trump has brought the wrath of God on America for trying to work with those terrorists in the Middle East and give away and make a deal and divide the land of Israel. Can we not see this thing happening? Claims he's taken Gaza. So we will see. We will see. Is it more PSYOP? If he does turn on him, is that part of the PSYOP? Is that part of the plan? Because I'm waiting for it. I've been seeing way too many, for going back decades, way too many people talking about, oh, America will be cursed for turning on the land of Israel. All the world's going to come against Israel in the end times. Wouldn't that be something? Okay, here's Netanyahu's response. Please be in English.
Will agree to it.
Okay.
I think that it's possible. Well, we accepted the deal, as did all the world. It was President Trump's plan. Hamas says that it accepted the deal. Now the onus is on Hamas. This plan consists of two parts. The first part is...
I love how he says it's Trump's plan, as if it's not Jared Kushner and like the Jews' plan. Come on. Yeah. Kushner's really doing something Netanyahu doesn't want. Okay.
Releasing all the hostages, Israel makes a tactical withdrawal, stays in Gaza. And then the second part is meant to demilitarize Gaza and disarm Hamas. That will be negotiated. But the first part is there. It's agreed upon. And that could be indeed the beginning of the end of the war. And as I said, since we accepted it, we have to see what Hamas will do. If Hamas will accept it, I think it's a very good sign. If Hamas doesn't accept it, and it's a possibility that we always take into mind, then Israel will receive, as President Trump says, the full support of the United States to forcefully act against it, to bring about an end to the war. I prefer, obviously, that we proceed with the plan as presented, but time will tell, and it won't take very long. In a few days, we'll know if Hamas agrees to the release of all our hostages. We can move forward.
The European
that is
conversation.
Complete phase one of the deal. That's what we're trying to do right now.
Prime Minister, just to follow up, so what happens if Hamas does not release the hostages? What will Israel do? How Israel will change its stance and the strategy?
Well, you have to realize that the reason Hamas agreed in the first place to this deal is because we acted militarily against their main stronghold, the city of Gaza. I gave an order to several weeks ago to the army to enter that stronghold, and as a result, Hamas became, I would say, a lot more flexible because they realized that their end is near. Add to that President Trump's intervention and the plan that he put for ending the conflict by having the hostages released first. That, I think, sealed this this situation in a positive way. Now, of course, I can't tell you if Hamas will agree to it. I think that it's possible. I hope it'll happen, but I can't guarantee that it'll happen. And so if it doesn't happen, what President Trump has said is that he will back Israel completely in acting forcefully against Hamas. Well, let's hope that that we can finish it the easy way and not the hard way. Peace between them, a peace
What he
based
has
on
to say about the European countries is the same interview. Let's see. I think it's a different clip.
There are several EU countries recently recognized the state of Palestine. How this affects or will affect Israel's relations with Europe? How would you explain to those in Europe what are the goals of your government in Gaza?
Well, I think it caused enormous damage first here in the Middle East because it's the ultimate prize for terror. You attack Jews in, as I said, the worst attack since the Holocaust, and you're given a state because that's who is going to run that state. And remember, the Palestinians had a state in Gaza, a de facto state, which turned out to be the greatest terrorist attack in history since 9/11. Imagine that after 9/11, people would say, okay, now let's give bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, let's give them a state. Not only will we give them a state, it'll be 1 mile from New York, which is what they're suggesting. After this October 7th massacre against Israel, we'll give the Palestinians a state.
Dude, this analogy is so bad. I saw him say this the other day, too. It's his main talking point, apparently. Like, Al-Qaeda wasn't already there. Like, Al-Qaeda didn't own New York before it was stolen from them decades ago. That's the difference in that analogy, so it's not even close.
1 mile or a few miles from Tel Aviv. That's not going to promote peace. But that's effectively what the European leaders, those European leaders who suggested a Palestinian state, are saying. We're going to stop terrorism by giving the terrorists a state right next to their intended victim, whom they almost eliminated. That doesn't move peace. I think that the more responsible approach taken by the United States and by President Trump, that's the way to improve peace. How did we get the Abraham Accords? You know, for 50 years, for 25 years, a quarter of a century, we couldn't expand the peace with our Arab neighbors. Everybody said you have to give the Palestinians a state. And that state obviously was committed to our elimination. So that wouldn't move it very far. In fact, it would move the needle backwards. In came President Trump and I, and we worked together, and we went around the Palestinian state. We went to Abu Dhabi. We went to the Emirates, that is. We went to Bahrain. We went to Morocco. We went to Sudan, and we brokered a direct peace between them, a peace based on mutual respect, a peace based on...
Yo!
Indomitably Based sent $50 on
It's
Rumble.
working. Thanks,
Jews
buddy.
playing the victim is just them exploiting Christian morality that privileges those who, dishonestly, claim to be victims. Nietzsche warned us.
Good point. Good point. Not only do they become the persecuted victims, but then they get to exploit the sympathy, the extra sympathy and empathy from the Christians and their Christian morals. Good point. Double whammy on there. Thank you so much, Indomitable Base. Putting us on the board.
First you have the strength, then you have the peace. Now what these European leaders are saying, let's weaken Israel to the point where it's fighting for its survival against another Palestinian state, this time right at the outskirts of Jerusalem.
Dude, allowing the West Bank to have Palestinian statehood doesn't mean you're fighting for your existence. Everybody says they're a state now. It's not like all of a sudden you're under threat of being genocided by the West Bank. Cut this bullshit. The West Bank is not Hamas, and you're not going to be fighting for your survival. They're fighting for their survival to have the promised land that God gave to them. That's their definition of fighting for survival.
Against another Palestinian state, this time right at the outskirts of Jerusalem, in fact, within Jerusalem, and right above the hills above Tel Aviv. Let's give them a state, and that's going to bring peace. That's absurd. So Europe has lost. Those European leaders, unfortunately, caved in to the terror of Hamas, and I think that's the wrong way to go.
Allowing them to have sovereignty, like that's not how you get peace. Come on. All right, that's the clip we already saw. Netanyahu sat down with, I think this clip was in the intro. He's in the new, dude, Netanyahu is also interviewed in the new Dinesh D'Souza documentary based on Rabbi Jonathan Cahn's book, The Dragon Prophecy. Dude, now we got Netanyahu teaming up with Dinesh D'Souza and Rabbi Cahn to do this Dragon's Prophecy in theaters. We're going to watch it for sure. I already said that. I don't know how. Hopefully it'll be ripped up on BitChute or something. But what was I going to say here? Oh, Netanyahu talks about saying Jesus came and did miracles or something like that. Nothing they hate more, but you got Netanyahu, hey, come see the Jesus boat, goy. And talking about Jesus doing miracles, right? There's another video I played of him recently where he said Jesus came and did miracles too. He's a huckster selling you this Jesus lie to get supports because it's their number one brainwashing operation. Was that Indomitable Base? I wonder if the dragon equals Leviathan, code word for Christian world, and Esau or Edom. Probably the satanic Leviathan. I bet you it is anti-Edom, it's the Judeos versus the Satanist. I'm sure it's out. I could just do a chat GPT. What is Rabbi Jonathan Cahn's dragon book about? He was just interviewed on with Roseanne talking about it. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I only saw a couple clips. I got to get to that too. I think I played it on the last stream. The dragon is the serpent. Yeah, that's what I thought they were saying, is it just represents Satan.
Christ, but going back 2,000, say a word about the role of biblical archaeology in affirming the presence of the Jews, going back not just to the time of Christ, but going back 2,000 years before that.
First of all, look at Christ himself.
Green Peach Goy sent $20. Hey, Adam, it sounds like you are in line with Ben Clausen view on the Bible, but what about the New Age thing that it is an allegory for achieving enlightenment? Jacob's ladder is the ascending chakra.
I don't know who that is.
Sent $25 on Rumble.
I think I've heard the name, but I don't know.
For many years, and I'm grateful to you for opening my eyes. I'm re-listening to Caesar's Messiah, as per your initial recommendation, and it again proves history repeating.
No, I never. Who said that? I have always said I don't like Caesar's Messiah, and I think it's wrong. And it's deflecting away from what the actual conspiracy is. I never suggested that book. So you must be mistaken. And that's not what happened. That's the conspiracy that Romans created Christianity to subdue the Jews. No, the Jews created Christianity to theologically conquer the Romans. It's completely backwards. So I'm sorry. Let's see who said that. I don't see it on Rumble. Wheel gun. I never made that recommendation, Wheel gun. Proves history is repeating. I'm not sure what you mean. How is Caesar's Messiah repeating? I don't get that either. But you got me curious. I'm confused, Wheel gun. And I don't think I've ever seen a donation from Wheel gun before. But thank you very much for the 25. Appreciate it.
First of all, look at Christ himself. He wasn't a Palestinian teacher. He was a Jewish teacher with a Jewish name, Yeshua. His father was Yosef, Joseph. These are all Hebrew names. And where did Jesus turn the tables on the money changers? Where? In Nepal? Perhaps in Singapore?
Oh, nothing Netanyahu fears more than Jesus flipping those tables in the temple. Oh, dude, I love how this is like the E-Crusaders' favorite meme, favorite moment. Jesus becomes their anti-Jewish folk hero with his whip. And here's Netanyahu affirming that because he's so scared of it. He totally doesn't want you to be following Jesus who whipped the Jews. That's why he brings it up with a big smile on his face. He's not promoting Thor. Good point, Wotanimus.
Turn the tables on the money changers. Where?
Oh my God. Add that to your fire edits. Look at this. All these big Zionists promoting Christianity. They promote Christianity like harder than anything. This guy is basically an evangelical pastor at this point. All the Jesus he promotes Jesus doing. We need to make like a Netanyahu loves Jesus edit where it has this. It has thanking Israel, Kufi for being the greatest friends of Israel, where he says Jesus healed the blind and did miracles. I played that clip the other day, and then throw in like a couple Ben Shapiro's talking about I want you to go to church. I love it when you say Christ is King, and really hammer this lie. Nothing they fear more than the name of Jesus. No, Jesus flipped the money changers' tables. Netanyahu's so scared of Jesus and his whip.
Yosef, Joseph. These are all Hebrew names. And where did Jesus turn the tables on the money changers? Where? In Nepal? Perhaps in Singapore?
The music.
Of course not. It was in the Jewish temple.
The Dragon's Prophecy in theaters October 6th and 8th. Streaming and DVDs available.
Can't wait for Netanyahu and Rabbi Khan coming together. I bet you it's going to be so bad, so bad. Here's Kash Patel. Remember we played the clip a few streams ago, Kash Patel and the Moskowitz guy in Congress, the Jewish guy in Congress, where they said that they agreed that they were going to work together on Section 230 for censorship. They're claiming it's for free speech, but it's actually so that they can sue people online.
FBI is transparency.
Let's see what he says here. This is one of the viral videos.
The simple answer, in my opinion, is social media is wildly out of control, and there's too much clickbait in this country. And one of the things I highlighted at Congress in my testimony last week was if we want to protect our youth, we got to get more involved in social media and online platforms, because that's where the folks, the assassins of this world, get radicalized. That's where they're the lone wolf actors in general.
I hope you're doing well. Welcome to this very special episode of
doing so. But speaking of, that's where they're the lone wolf actors in general. And so we have to get after that problem set. And I asked for Congress to help in doing so. But speaking of Charlie Kirk, who was a very dear friend of mine, and then I was tasked with leading the nationwide manhunt to find the perpetrators involved. Of course, we were going to use every resource we have to find every single person involved. And the investigation's still ongoing. But we, as one of the pillars of my leadership here at the FBI, is transparency. We've produced more documents to Congress than my last two predecessors combined by twofold. Just to put it in perspective. So when we take our investigations out to the streets,
like a patriot. You don't got American flag socks, you ain't a patriot.
So fast. The Boston Marathon bomber.
I trust him. He's telling the truth about Epstein because he's got American flag socks. You think a guy wearing American flag socks would lie to you?
Which happened in downtown Boston during the Boston Marathon, took 5 days, and there was a police officer was killed in that manhunt. Luigi Mangione, who allegedly murdered an individual, the CEO of the healthcare company in downtown Manhattan, in broad daylight, took 5 days to find him. Our investigation is very much ongoing. But we've also, Armstrong, in an unusual thing, put out publicly more information as to what we found because it is of such public importance. The flip side of that is the social media people get involved and they come run with their crazy conspiracy theories because it makes them money. It gives them clickbait. And I don't work for them and I don't respond to them. My duty is to the American people. If there was anyone else involved in Charlie Kirk's murder, you can look at our record. We'll find them.
See what I'm saying? They're going to use these Charlie Kirk truthers to change the algorithms and to use Palantir AI to stop all this disinformation. That's what they're going to do. That's why it's flourishing so much online right now, because it's allowed to happen. It's being botted and manufactured to have the pretext for the big crackdown. These low IQ, kooky disinformation, Christian conspiracies against Jews is what gives them their victim status and justifies in most people's eyes everybody being censored or just suppressed and shadow banned with the algorithms. See, I called this and already it's happening. He's talking about the Charlie Kirk truthers, by the way, clearly. A lot of news going around about Barry Weiss, who we've covered many times throughout the years because she's such a hardcore, shameless Zionist. And Likud mouthpiece, Likud lackey. What was the term she called Tulsi Gabbard on Joe Rogan? It wasn't lackey. She called her something, because whatever she called that is what she is of Israel. I'm forgetting the word. Somebody in the chat will know it. Cunt? No, it wasn't that. She called her a word, and Rogan was like, Toady. That's it. Thank you.
$20. Thanks for the stream. Adam, ever checked out the hidden gospels like Thomas, Mary, Judas, and Philip? They make you question what really got left out.
I got sections in my book about Gospel of Thomas and Gospel of Judas. So yes. Toady, yeah, shill. It was Toady. The word was Toady. She's a toady for Netanyahu. And completely, I don't know who likes this girl, how she starts this media company. Now it's bought out by Paramount, bought out by Larry Ellison's son, who's running Paramount, owning Paramount, buys out her little blog and Substack for $150 million and appoints her the editor-in-chief at CBS News. Her qualifications, she's a Zionist mouthpiece and a Zionist propagandist. So things are looking very Jewish at CBS News. What are they, the top 1 or 2 media news companies in the world? CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox. Wow. Barry Weiss. Seeing her from being like some nobody to blowing up to this life path, this is Jewish privilege. This is nepotism. No greater example of this. It was nepotism that she even got invited on Joe Rogan. The AI whisper voice is funny, right? Now she's the editor-in-chief of CBS. I'll expect a whole lot of Zionist propaganda out of CBS News now. I don't know. I couldn't tell you how closely they already were hardcore Zionist propaganda, but I imagine it was already really bad. I can't imagine it getting all that much worse, but I'm sure it will. Just a conspiracy, though, about this. Every conspiracy leads to Jews. You know, I said this once in the context that, like, this is what everybody always says, and it is true. This is what even the conspiracy theorists say, is that the Jews are behind every conspiracy, and then the Jews will say, yeah, these conspiracy theorists think that Jews are behind everything. I acknowledged that in an interview once, and then people clipped it out of context and said, oh, Adam's saying everything's a Jewish conspiracy, like, in some bad way. These Christians are such frauds. Did anyone see Tim Dillon's skit on this? The CB? Oh yeah, he dressed up like a rabbi and said, I'll look that up. That's funny. I'll find that. Yeah, because this has been talked about for a while, but it's been made official now.
There's a part of the right that is extraordinarily conspiratorial in its approach to the world and sees forget about Israel. Sees Jews as a sort of conspiratorial force in the United States. Tries to manifest, tries to claim that all the problems in America are the responsibility of a foreign state or Judaism as a religion. And yeah, that's a conspiratorial force inside the right. That's, I think, extremely dark, and it is rising because social media. But a lot of that's divisive.
But a lot of them were allies is the right word, but they were connected with us, right? I mean, a lot of these people are within those circles that you are part of, in a sense.
Yes.
And then, so like, how do they flip?
I mean, how did that happen? So, I mean, we're first like that. I think that, well, some of them were. I mean, I think someone's left, some of them were. I think that the social media incentive structures right now are truly terrible. So if you go on X, you're going to get a lot more likes and clicks if you are promoting an anti-Israel, anti-Semitic agenda than if you do the opposite. Same thing is true on TikTok. So they're winning.
No, let me correct you there, Ben. If you do, which he also acknowledges, Christian anti-Semitism, he says, is low IQ anti-Semitism. That's what goes most viral. The E-Crusader kosher disinfo that Jesus was not Jewish, or that your main issue being Jews killed Jesus, or what's the other big anything about Jews being satanic, that's what gets the engagement. That's what's being propped up by the algorithm. That's what's being propped up by all the Abrahamic echo chamber. That's what's being used and highlighted in the mainstream press to justify the fear-mongering and the hate speech laws and the censorship. Look at this guy. This freeze frame is just too funny.
Financial thing. Well, I think a lot more likes and clicks if you are promoting an anti-Israel, anti-Semitic agenda than if you do the opposite. Same thing is true on TikTok. So is it a financial thing? Well, I think some of it's financial. I think some of it...
is Ben's shirt from Baby Gap? I think so.
Is that these people tend to believe in a lot of conspiracy theory about how the world works. And virtually every conspiracy theory at the end of it, unfortunately, is true. Because where all the conspiracy theories go to is, and then who's successful?
Jesus is actually at the bottom of the conspiracy rabbi hole is Jesus, and he is Jewish. So in that sense, that's my take on it.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on, that was all about a problem. Well, right. So they were good. Well, so the height, like we used to, I mean, if you are on the left, then you say there are people in society who have benefited from our systems of power. Who are the people who are well educated and rich? Disproportionately, a lot of Jews are well educated and rich. Therefore, Jews are the bad guy. And you see a sort of horseshoe argument that's happening from the right, where the idea is that, you know, there are a lot of very wealthy, powerful, rich people in American society who are Jewish, and therefore they're in control of all the things I don't like. No, never mind that that's actually not even statistically true. The vast majority of powerful bankers in the United States are not Jewish. The vast majority of people in Hollywood are not only not Jewish, they're also not pro-Israel. And forget about any of that. The important thing is the conspiracy itself, and that's being promoted, unfortunately, day and night by a certain contingent inside the right, and it's growing because conspiratorialism right now is an incredibly sexy pitch. Particularly for young people who are being told that the problems in their own life are not their fault and they can be solved by sort of there's a part of the right.
So here's the narrative everywhere. Like I told you was coming. The anti-Semitic, oh, they say we're satanic, oh, the blood libels, oh, this, all the things that are actually true get lumped in with the kooky stuff, and it all gets dismissed, and it all gives them victim status, and it all discredits the opposition. Disinformation expert Mike Rothschild, same thing. All conspiracy theories have a hint of anti-Semitism. They always say Jews aren't real because the word didn't exist until the 16th century. Well, I guess Jesus isn't real either then.
And it spreads instantly on social media.
Disinformation expert Mike Rothschild and former FBI and CIA Special Agent Tracy Walder. Great to have you both here. Mike, how do these spread? And by the way, why are we seeing so many anti-Semitic conspiracy theories?
Imagine being a disinfo conspiracy expert and your name is Rothschild. That's really going to break through that the people that think the Rothschilds own everything. Like you're literally feeding into the stereotype, feeding into the conspiracy, I should say.
Right now?
Well, as I wrote about in one of my books, all conspiracy theories essentially have a hint of anti-Semitism, and all anti-Semitism is based around conspiracy theories. It's very natural for an unexpected traumatic event like Charlie Kirk's murder, caught on camera in front of hundreds of people, instantly broadcast around the world, to send people spinning off into wild theories of what happened, why it happened, who did it. We had no idea for almost 2 days. That is a petri dish where conspiracism and paranoia are going to grow. And everyone is going to latch onto a different theory based on whatever your own personal beliefs are. Whatever you wanted the shooting to be, for that, it was you. And it spreads instantly on social media.
By the way, Mike, should we trust you? Aren't you a Rothschild? Aren't you behind everything?
I am a Rothschild. I'm not one of the Rothschilds. If I were, I would be living on my yacht and counting my paintings.
Okay, great. Because I thought that was a room on your yacht. I was mistaken. Okay, Tracy, let me go to you. There is a...
I got some more Barry Weiss stuff. I'm looking for the Tim Dillon. I thought he dressed up like a rabbi. Didn't he dress up like a rabbi? I'm not finding that one when I search his name. But I did find some other ones before we get to the Pope. Here's
money, $300 million. Where's my fucking money? $300 million, $250 million for Barry Weiss's blog. And everyone talks about, like, everyone's like, oh, the grift is to go against Israel. It's like, clearly not. The grift is $250,000 for the blog, for your blog. By the way, God bless. They don't like me anymore, which is fine because, again, you're on the team or you're not on the team. You criticize one thing, I mean, you're off the team. And again, it's no shade to Barry, $250 million. Is it worth that? I mean, it's a blog. I mean, it's a full blog. It's a blog. I mean, and it's a small YouTube channel.
Larry Ellison, who's a big Zionist, pays her off and makes her the head of their news division because she's an ultra Zionist. It doesn't get any more of a proof of a conspiracy than that.
But apparently the brand equity.
New Yorker in Exile sent $5. I think Musk has allowed anti-Semitic posts on X as part of some plan to train AI on anti-Zionist discourse. Just a sponge to perfect future censoring. Also, will your book be on Amazon?
I hope so. That's the plan. There and somewhere else if anybody doesn't like Amazon. I'm going to try to have 2 places that it could be purchased. Yeah, good point.
And by brand equity means I'm willing to argue for shooting Palestinian toddlers in the face. That's the brand equity of 250 sticks.
Does anybody have the link for him as a rabbi?
Give me 400 sticks. Ready? Here I go. The thing about the war and the thing that people are struggling to understand about
there it is.
Hamas,
I found it. Thank you.
Hamas, terrorists, Hamas, terrorist, Hamas is terrorism. Hamas, New York City, blow up Trade Center, World Trade
Ladies
Center,
and gentlemen,
blood face, child death, your child, killing, suburbs, killing,
Dorsruden
death.
sent $5 on Rumble. According to a chart I saw on X, Stooge Peters is the #1 anti-Semite on the web. Candace really needs to up her game if she wants to overtake the snake venom salesman.
I saw that. I did a big segment on that. I believe it was last stream. Played the clip of him talking about it. Gave my thoughts on that whole thing. Every one of those Big Ten names promotes the type of opposition that plays into their hands. They all promote the Christian-controlled opposition. Besides Jake Shields, who recently had me on to talk about it. But he has in the past.
Skitty God gifted 1 subscription on Rumble.
Thank you. Don't see too many of those.
Killing, terrorism, death, terrorism, Iran, death, terrorism, your children, family, terrorism, theme parks, boom, boom, bridge, bad. And what we have to do is shoot toddler in his face. Thank you. 303. Thank you very much. That was very good. And 300 million for you. Anything else you'd like? That's good. Thank you so much. 300, and it's 300 million for you. But that's the argument. I mean, those are the arguments they make at the Free Press. It doesn't even, they don't even pretend, by the way. And God bless them, but they don't even pretend like there is no intellectual heft to any of the arguments. They're like, if Iran's not bombed, they're going to rape your mother. You're like, wait, what? My mother's dead. They'll dig her up. Wait, really? They're going to dig my mother up and rape her?
I like the background.
Well, they will. Just wait and see. They're gonna come. They're gonna come kill you.
All right, here's his rabbi thing. This is 50 minutes though, so I'm not sure when he does the Barry Weiss thing.
My name is Tim Dillon. I want to first start by thanking Barry Weiss for giving me the opportunity to sit here with you at the iconic CBS News desk and deliver the news. CBS is a great American institution. I also want to speak directly to people who feel that there may be some changes coming at CBS or that the network isn't going to be recognizable. Nothing could be further from the truth. Here at CBS, we have a journalistic commitment to integrity, giving you both sides or all sides of every issue that matters to you. Barry is committed to delivering fearless, unbiased journalism, and she is incredibly aware of what a shill you people think
10
she is.
Babamamas
But
sent
she is
$5
not.
on Rumble. Have you heard of either Professor Jang or Morgue Official? I have came across them on YouTube talking about similar topics as you.
Morgue Official, is that the really white guy? Yeah, I've seen one of his videos before. What did you ask if I was familiar with that? The other guy, is that the guy that's on the whiteboard? The Asian guy that's on the whiteboard? I played a clip of him a couple streams ago, and I have some of his YouTube videos in my watch later queue. So if that's the guy that you're talking about, Professor Zhang, then I have heard of those guys, yes.
She is not a shill, and nor am I. I want to thank the Ellison family. I want to thank Paramount. I want to thank everybody who invested severely in me and Barry and the whole team at the Free Press. The investments made were intense. They were severe. And I want to thank everyone who took hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars to make sure that you are getting fearless, unbiased news coverage from a team that's only agenda is the truth. Our only agenda is the truth.
The bagels on the desk is
biggest thing that
too
we
funny.
are trying to do here. We are not trying to come on here and spin and say, hey.
Okay, not that funny. Maybe this will be better. Barry Weiss, head of CBS, says she doesn't know what Mossad is.
I'm the first month you've ever met, but you know.
Yossi Cohen, welcome to Honestly.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, a lot of people on the internet believe that you are my boss because they believe that I am a member of the Mossad.
Oh,
but
really?
this is actually the first time that I'm meeting you, or at least as far as I know, any member of the Mossad. So I'm very excited to meet you.
I'm the first month you've ever met, but you know.
There might
that
be,
you
I might have met people.
Might be others that you know the world.
First, I want to set the table for people because the
She has 350,000
Mossad
subscribers
is an agency
on YouTube.
that is just shrouded in
Hi,
so
Honestly
much
listeners.
conspiracy and propaganda. Simple question, Yossi. What is the Mossad?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show. New York, what's a fun thing people like there?
Hold on, let me see.
If you're a regular listener, then you've heard hundreds of conversations that I've hosted here on this podcast. Today, I'm doing something different. It's an announcement, and one that I'm so excited to be making. The Free Press is a news organization above all, so I'll get right to it. This morning, the Free Press is joining Paramount. This move is a testament to many things: the Free Press team, the vision of Paramount's new leaders, the luck of starting an independent media company at just the right moment,
Luck.
and the courage
Luck. I'm sure it was a bunch of luck. That's what it was.
of my colleagues to leave behind old worlds to build a new one. But above all,
New World Order.
it's a testament to you, our listeners, our readers, and our subscribers. From day one, the promise and the business proposition of the Free Press was simple. We would marry the quality of the old world to the freedom of the
Look at this. Barry Weiss says, this is exactly what the messaging should be. Get the vaccine and get back to life. Oh, great. Oh, great.
new. We would seek the truth
COVID
and tell it
kook.
plainly.
and we would treat readers like adults capable of making their own choices.
A mandatory vaccine
So many
gal.
people told
She didn't
us
say
this
that,
was no
actually.
longer possible, that the premise of a media company built on trust rather than partisanship was at best a relic from the past, and at worst a fantasy that never was. They said that the internet killed journalism forever, and that there simply weren't enough Americans out there in search of media driven by honesty, independence.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You're just so honest. No, but no other Americans could be honest. Yeah, somebody made a point. I'd probably have more YouTube subscribers than her if I hadn't been banned.
You proved them wrong.
But
you
I'm
demonstrated
good.
that there is a market, a big
Free
one.
press owned by the Free Press owned by brought to you by Larry Ellison in Israel. The Free Press.
And you've given us a mandate to pursue that mission from an even bigger platform. I'm going to continue to lead this incredible community alongside my tireless team, remaining.
Didn't she write the article for New York? She left New York Times, right? Because they weren't pro-Israel enough or something. She wrote the article in the infamous article in the New York Times about the intellectual dark web, where she promoted Joe Rogan and Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin and the Weinstein brothers, right? Wasn't that her article? Am I correct on that? Is my memory serving me correct here?
CEO and editor-in-chief of the Free Press, and of course, hosting this show. But as of today, I'll be taking on another title too. I'm now editor-in-chief of CBS News, working with new colleagues on the programs that have impacted American culture for generations. Shows like 60 Minutes and Sunday Morning, and also shaping how millions...
It was Meet the Renegades of the Intellectual Dark Web. That was her article, her opinion piece. Propping up all these kosher mainstream alternative media players. Anointed.
Of Americans read, listen, watch, and most importantly, understand the
Just
news.
work harder, Goyd. You could run
In
CBS
retrospect,
too.
What the Free Press did is uncover an America hiding in plain sight. People who want to be surprised.
That's right. Elon worked with her in the Twitter files also, right? Good
People
point.
Who want
Thank
to
you.
learn. People who are open to changing their minds in the face of new facts. People who believe that curiosity is a virtue and who crave common sense in a world that feels upside down. People who resist the warmth of political tribalism, even as they...
Yeah, she rejects the political tribalism. Oh my God, she's total tribal Israel Zionist Jewish girl, saying she rejects tribalism. Give me a break. Oh my God, the gaslighting is... I've never seen such chutzpah. I cannot believe I just heard that come from her. Political tribalism.
And who crave common sense in a world that feels upside down. People who resist the warmth of political tribalism, even as they seek community with one another. And people who want logic and wit, not conspiracy theories and demoralization. Most of all, free pressers are people who want
logic
to face
and
the
wit.
truth. Because we understand that knowing is the only way to improve lives, our own and those of our fellow citizens. Being almost entirely a subscription business has kept us honest. We publish stories, we get subscribers. We build trust, we get subscribers. Story by story, hire by hire, that is what we have done.
I wonder
I
how
won't
many
listen.
subscribers. I'm sure she was already making a ton of money with however many subscribers she had. People subscribe through her website or Substack or something. I don't know.
News that the Free Press team has broken, the brilliant pieces by my colleagues that have made sense of this roiling and confused political moment, the conversations we've cracked open, including here on Honestly, and the merry band of brilliant misfits who have done it all. If you're new here, and welcome, you can learn more about what we do by going to the Free Press's website at thefp.com. What I can tell you is that this would not have happened without you, without our subscribers betting on us. It was those series of bets of $10 a month, that have built the Free Press, that have changed the culture for the better, and that now stand to help transform.
This girl's living a life of luxury off $10 subscriptions. Makes me want to give a plug for my Subscribestar. Subscribestar link below. I was banned from my subscriptions from PayPal. I was banned from my subscriptions from Patreon. I was banned all the subscriptions I built up on YouTube. I was banned from all the subscriptions I had built up on, what was the last one I was going to say? Subscribestar is where it's, Odyssey. I had subscribers on Odyssey. They took that away with Stripe. Just work harder, though. Just work harder.
One of the most important media companies in the world. Now, if you've been with me from the start, you may have questions like, wasn't the free press started precisely because the old media institutions had failed? Isn't the whole premise of this publication that we need to build anew? Why flee the New York Times only to head back into another legacy institution? In 2020, when I quit the New York Times, I left a job that on paper was exactly the one I had always dreamed of having. But the thing is, it wasn't the New York Times anymore. It was by then a fancy logo and a motto that many had abandoned in exchange for devotion to a set of narrow...
I won't torture us anymore with Barry Weiss. That's enough Barry Weiss for the day. We got some new interesting tweets out from the Pope yesterday. He says, I express my concern about the rise of anti-Semitic hatred in the world, as unfortunately we saw with the terrorist attack in Manchester a few days ago. Right, Christcut pastors. The other Pope says, it is not possible for Christians to take part in anti-Semitism, because they are spiritually Semites. E-Crusaders, he's talking to you. Hey, internet Christians. Hey, Catholics that attack me and lie about me and say they're nothing to Jew. Like, we just played the clip the other day. All these shills go, we want to oppose the Jews. There's nothing they fear more than Catholicism. Nothing they hate more than Catholics. And this is your Pope. He condemns you, and you just run cover for it. Hey, Fuentes, he's talking to you. The Pope is going to excommunicate you guys. And yet you still shill and say Catholicism is the only way. Stop kicking the can down the road. Pull off the Band-Aid. Come to terms. Dave Riley, I'm sorry, but I don't think we should waiting another 30 years to hopefully elect a better Pope. Pope would condemn you. Your church, the leader of your church, would condemn you. E. Michael Jones. They wouldn't condemn E. Michael Jones on his race rhetoric, but they sure would about the Jewish rhetoric. Yeah, they're not going to excommunicate them because that would just give them too much attention to have them named and singled out like that. But you know it, we know it, they know it. Everybody knows you're condemned. Your positions they view as satanic and heretical. So until you can get that solved, how about you shut the fuck up about pagans online? How about you stop running cover for the greatest mind control operation in history with your cope that they're not real Christians? And enough of this, you're being divisive. We're all Christians, stop being divisive. Fuck you. How's that for divisive? How's that for your Jewish Messiah that you want to impose on the world? Advancing the Jewish agenda. How's that for divisive, your Jesus who came not to bring peace but a sword and division, even within people's own households or nations? How about that? So yeah, same Pope, just like the old Pope says inside every Christian is a Jew, and he condemns anti-Semitism, and they need to erase anti-Semitism from humanity. The new Pope saying the same thing. So I don't want to hear any more. Gypsy Crusader, enough of this Catholic LARPing. You're condemned. Anti-Semitism, racism, condemned by the leader of your church. Cut the bullshit. I'm sick of it. 28,000 likes too, by the way. Pope also tweeted yesterday. He says, today we celebrate the Jubilee of the missions and the migrants. Celebrate the migrants. Goy. This is the wonderful opportunity to rekindle in ourselves the awareness of our missionary vocation, which arises from the desire to bring the joy and consolation of the gospel to everyone, especially those who are experiencing difficult and painful situation, like our foreign refugee migrant brothers in Christ. Pope Leo offers another jibe at Trump over deportations, urges Catholics to embrace open borders under the new missionary age. He put out the video recently. We need to not put up walls, but build bridges with thy neighbors. Yeah, you like the Pope voice? That's what the Pope, my Pope impression. Oh, and so much for super based white Catholic or white Christian nationalist Putin lovers. He says, Russia has never been racist. We advocate for diversity. One color would be a dull place. Sounds like your average libtard. Your average global homo Western Edom libtard, right?
We in Russia were never known for such racist approach to other countries, nations, cultures.
Here go your heroes, Russian Orthodox Church. Here go your heroes, Catholics. Here's the reality about your leaders. So, and everybody knows it, so cut the bullshit. Cut the copes, cut the lies and slander when we tell the truth about your leaders.
It has never been our course, and it will never be our course. We're never known for such racist approach to other countries, nations, cultures. It has never been our course, and it will never be.
And then he'll call the West racist Nazis. They'll kvetch about anti-black stuff in America, and he supported BLM. Constantly, denazifying, Nazis everywhere. Right? And he's your hero. Hey, and then these Christian Nazis online. Putin is your hero. They all happen to just love Putin for some reason.
Our course, we advocate for polyphony, diversity, symphony of values. One color world would be a dull place.
Yeah. Yeah. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Dun-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Just the other day, the Pope was blessing ICE for climate change. This is how we win, guys. This is the way. Isn't it funny how we'll see these Catholic e-crusader LARPers that are like, yeah, we're white nationalist, racist, and hate Jews. That we're real Catholics. Stop the cope, dude. Look at your church. And they're not doing anything to take it back. Nothing. They're too busy memeing on pagans. And kvetching about, you're being divisive. Stop telling the truth about our fake Jewish religions. Sorry, you're not based in red-pilled. If you're so gullible that you believe that the Jewish Messiah was born of a virgin and rose from the dead because some Jews told you so. If you fell for that, sorry, you're not based in red-pilled. You failed the litmus test. And you need to sit down and listen. Stop discrediting the opposition. Stop enabling the whole Judeo fantasy. Dude, you're cooked. You Catholics are so cooked. You've been cooked. It was cooked since the inception, actually. This is interesting. They're claiming now, the official story, like from Kash Patel and Bongino, is there's nobody on the Epstein list. He didn't work for any intelligence selling blackmail, and there are no tapes now also. But meanwhile, this interview of Howard Lutnick, who was his next door neighbor, says he's like the greatest blackmailer ever.
This was not
ooh, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
no, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, you know, get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmail.
Now the official story, and Howard Lutnick, for those that aren't aware, is our Commerce Secretary. He's the Cantor Fitzgerald on 9/11 CEO. He's a big investor involved with Rumble also. He was right there with Trump at Chabad Lubavitch on October 7th anniversary. Greatest blackmailer ever, he says. And now they're telling us, oh, he didn't blackmail anybody. He wasn't working with anybody, and there's no list and there's no videos.
His MO was, you know, get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmailed.
Parisia Times sent $5 on Rumble.
Thank you.
Back from Japan. Managed to catch a live stream and make a dono. Thanks for your great work. I'll catch the replay later. Peace.
Thank you for your not a Jew $5, 5 shekel tithe. Parisia Time. How was the sushi in Japan? How was the food in sushi? Was it incredible? Was it expensive?
The greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmailed people. That's how he had money.
That's how he had money. Next door neighbor. See, all of the Zionist propagandists like Dinesh D'Souza, who's teaming up with Netanyahu and the Zionist propagandists, right? Highlighting Ian Carroll, who's now blaming TPUSA and Erica Kirk and Israel. He blamed Israel on day one, within hours. The body wasn't even cold yet, and he was already blaming Israel, acting like we knew it was Israel, teaming up with the kooky, discrediting Candace Owens. All the Zionists always highlighting him to make the Charlie Kirk truthers look stupid, to make anti-Israel people look like kooky pizza delivery driver conspiratards. Yeah, he shills he panders to the Christ brains. He went on Roseanne. He's like, yeah, we all got to believe in God, and like Satan is bad. Hey, that was a serious question, Parisia Time. Maybe he left already. He said he'll watch the replay later, so he left. I wanted to hear how the sushi was. I wanted to hear about the sushi. I want to go visit Japan one day. Hopefully it doesn't get destroyed by the Christian multiculturalism. Wait, we're not going to get too into that. They're all, I've seen all the big Zionist influencers are drawing shining the light on this to show like, oh, it's so despicable, going after his friends, going after his family, the blood libel, blaming Israel. This is the way it's actually turning out. This is how the history books are written. This is what most people notice. Despite your astroturfed, botted follower and like counts of your low IQ, conspiratard, Christian, controlled op talking points. Better go soon? I know, huh? This is interesting. An old clip. I remember seeing this years ago, too. This old video of Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. And apparently Joe Rogan started talking about the Jews run all the media and he works for the Jews. And Alex is like, no.
No, they don't. They do. And people wake up. That's why they come up with new scams. We just got to totally distrust these bastards, get local control, and stop being so friggin' cynical. That's how we save America.
That's how we get it. But, dude, we're never going to save it. If they control CBS, NBC, Fox, and ABC, and they control all the newspapers.
CBS, Barry Weiss, definitely controlled by Zionists. Larry Ellison and Barry Weiss, no denying that they're Zionist-controlled now. I'd have to look up who was running it before. I'm sure it was Zionist controlled already. But this is peak level Zionist. Nobody can deny the Zionist influence at CBS now that they got Barry Weiss and Larry Ellison. Yeah, I'm hopefully going to do a show with Owen Schroyer soon. I haven't asked him yet. Or actually, I think I did, but I haven't given him a date or anything. I saw he just posted Owen Schroyer, he left InfoWars. He's setting up a new studio. He posted some studio images, which I always love to see that type of stuff, considering I have a shoestring studio. But now that he's got his setup rocking, maybe we'll try to do something.
NBC, Fox, America. That's how we get it. But dude, we're never going to save it. If they control CBS, NBC, Fox, and ABC, and they control all the newspapers,
his federal agent.
Never do anything.
Lay down, GI. You'll never win. There's no hope.
Federal agent, dude.
Federal agent. How dare you call me such?
Clearly, the Jews control the media and they control me.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, that's a whole nother shill level. See, there's whole levels of propaganda and film you have to go through.
Really?
Yes. Last time I checked, it's public.
See, Jones, his whole career was like lying and covering up the overrepresentation in the Zionist influence.
Knowledge that George Bush Sr.'s third cousin, Queen Elizabeth, and they're worth trillions.
And always directing it back to the royals or the Saudis or the Muslim Brotherhood or Muslims run the Federal Reserve, right? Chi-coms run Hollywood.
We hear that they're worth nothing, and it's this nice family from Texas.
Do they still talk?
What?
They still talk?
Actually, they do meet routinely. They just met earlier this year over in France for the Bilderberg conference.
Wait, but Queen Elizabeth
made the big stink when he kissed Queen Elizabeth on the lips.
Jews don't control the media?
Europeans aren't allowed to meet up with one another and have conferences. Evil Atlanticist West. It's all the evil royal Western. Sounds a whole lot of Kremlin talking points, this Dugan talking points, these Atlanticist Bilderbergs. Dugan says all the same exact shit.
Every Jew that I know is like in television. They're all really smart and rich. They don't control the media. They're like producing all these shows and shit. That's not real.
That's not real, dude. Jones is getting pressed by Rogan.
It's like in television. They're all really smart. Rich. They don't control the media. They're like producing all these shows and shit. That's not real.
Jones is like 25 years old. Like, Joe, shut the fuck up. You want to make it in the conspiracy world? You gotta talk about the royals. Talk about the Fourth Reich. Talk about the reptilians.
I think you're baiting Jew, isn't he?
It's like Aaron Spelling, that kind of thing.
His agent's a Jew, he says.
They're all very wealthy Jewish guys. They're pretty much controlling.
I don't know. I looked at my Forbes 500 list of richest people, and they're not.
Yeah, but television producers.
2 or 3 are Jews.
Television producers are so many.
2 or 3.
Guys are television producers.
They're the most overrepresented group in the Forbes list.
White bitch certified.
Not a Jew challenge. Thank you, white
not
bitch.
A Jew challenge. Give our goy some money.
Thank you. Let's hit the goal today, guys. Let's hit the big goal.
Yeah.
So I can sleep at night. So I miss no more news.
600 years ago in England or France, they had their pogroms.
Oh!
Pogroms?
Yeah. They would...
Pilgrims?
Exactly. Pilgrims do. They would have what they call purges.
Well, now we know.
I'm pretty impressed.
So he goes right to that, huh? Oh. You want a pogrom.
Pogrom.
Yeah,
Pogrom.
Well, we're from Texas.
All right, how does pussy fit into the New World Order?
They would.
I've heard it pronounced both. Now I'm unsure which
Cabbage
it is.
Bandit sent $25 on Rumble. Have a great week, Adam. Thanks
you,
for being
Cabbage
there for
Bandit.
us.
Cabbage Bandit always coming through. How do you get a name like Cabbage Bandit, by the way? What's that about?
They would set up. Well, I need to answer your question.
Okay.
Do you really read the scholarly?
Isn't that the ultimate form of control?
The scholarly. I'll answer your question.
Okay, go ahead.
Dude, I'd never seen that before. He got pressed by Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan based what? Joe Rogan knows. He's always known. And now he's got that big, huge deal at Spotify, too. And that's why Joe Rogan has on Barry Weiss and all of the Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and Zionist networks. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Okay. Sean Ryan, former military ops drug runner turned kosher Christian podcaster. He's got a lot of followers on YouTube, too. He really gets pushed in the YouTube algorithm, I've been noticing. Sean Ryan Show. Let's see. How many is it? 5 million subscribers, constantly shilling Jesus. Constantly shilling Jesus because there's nothing they fear more. Anyway, here they are talking about October 7th and how the nation's rising up against Israel, and that means that's the Antichrist, Trump. Are they? And then talking about Gog and Magog. But they all talk about it. Watch this. They all talk about it as if it's like God's plan and it's a good thing and it's totally real, right?
Sean, there we go. Sent $5. Eventful news weekend, Adam. Missed you. Glad Poetry works again. Had so much to say Thursday.
You had a lot to say on Thursday, I know, and it wasn't working, right? All right, well, let's watch this one. Thank you, Jordan.
I'm not happy with what's going on over there at all. October 7th was horrible. Gaza looks like a dumpster. In Ezekiel 38:39, it talks about these, I think it's 12 nations that rise up against Israel. That's where the Antichrist will come from. What are your thoughts on this?
I love Israel. I love the people of Israel. On the night that happened, and I got
big Christian influencer. What is this, like KD Russian or something is what it's called? Is he Russian?
I got in a lot of trouble for this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. On the night that happened, I said, man, this October 7th is so bad, but I'm nervous because the IDF can be heavy-handed with how they respond.
Are they God's chosen people? I thought there was a new covenant that encompassed all of us. Am I wrong about that?
And then there's a
are they chosen or like we chosen now too? Like the real questions that matter. If that's the question you're asking, you've already lost. The answer should be laugh in their face. Oh, chosen by God. Ha! That should be the only answer. I don't think so. It should be, ha, yeah, right. It should be, chosen, bow down to your Messiah.
Forget about it.
No, forget about it. That should be the only answer.
That says, and all Israel will be saved. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how that all works.
I think it did. You know, I called a really good friend of mine, Congressman Eli Crane, about a lot of the stuff that's going on in Israel right now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I had a conversation with him about, you know, I'm not interested in what people think.
He interviews so many kooky Christians.
I'm interested in what the scriptures say. Mm-hmm. And I'm confused by a lot of the scriptures.
And it was literally like
brought up
a drug running.
Ezekiel 38, 39 several times to me. Read it. Didn't really understand it. I don't know if he's talking about at the time or this is going to happen in the future, but it basically says that all the nations will rise against Israel. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of that happening right now. I am not happy with what's going on over there at all.
This video, just the full upload, has 500,000 views 4 days ago. Pumping the Gog and Magog, the prophecy paradigm script, convincing all of the audience that it's totally real and it has to happen and it's all going according to the Jew plan.
October 7th was horrible. Gaza looks like a dumpster. 60,000 people killed. That's several months old, probably a lot more now. You know, bombed Catholic churches in Libya, in Gaza. Rumors of one in Syria. I mean, I'm not happy with what's going on over there. But, you know, at the same time, when we see this, the rise against Israel, and it's, once again, it's everywhere in my feed. You click on one thing, you want to hear what somebody says, the next thing you know, that's your entire feed. Mm-hmm. You know, and it is in every comment section, doesn't matter what the post is, you know, everything, you know, there are people out there that claim everything is Israel's fault. In Ezekiel 38:39, it talks about these, I think it's 12 nations that rise up against Israel.
Dude, have I not been saying this is coming for years? Have I not been pointing out that this dialectic, this kosher Christian Muslim opposition to Judaism? Needmore Amalek says the entire internet has become 4chan. Pretty much. And what are they all saying? It's prophecy. It's supposed to happen. It's part of the plan. And it's all real. It's all biblical.
That's where the Antichrist will come from. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I'm curious about what are your thoughts on this?
So you're right in that Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and Daniel are being written at the same time. They're all contemporaries of each other. And they're being written to and about the children of Israel.
Daniel's written 2nd century BCE. It's a forgery. fake prophecies, writing prophecies after the things that already happened. Wrong.
Exiled in Babylon.
According to the official story, though, that's what they say.
So that's the backdrop of those 3 books. And so it's very wild stuff, right? Now, Babylon was the enemy, and they were...
Oh, dude, I thought this guy was called Russian KD. It's Ruslan KD. That makes sense, because he doesn't really look
captive,
Russian.
Taken out of the land.
Or sound Russian.
And in those books, there's apocalyptic stuff in all of them. Daniel has some really wild stuff about the Son of Man. He's coming back, and there's all kinds of really cryptic stuff in there.
His book is Godly
that is
Ambition.
prophetic, but it's also serving 2 purposes. It's also speaking about stuff that's happening there now, right?
Dude. There's so many big Jesus grifters, Jesus shills that promote all these prophecies as real, that promote and affirm the whole Jewish religious paradigm. So many. He's got a huge YouTube channel, Sean Ryan. There's so many of these people. And I feel like, me and a few others are like the lone voices out there that are just like saying, the emperor wears no clothes. It's a lie. These prophecies is how they control us. And so many people.
Is how they enslave us.
The whole chorus going along with it's real. The Bible's real. Most Satanist. Gotta believe in Jesus. Alex Jones, right?
And so my thoughts on all of it, man, is I think October 7th was awful. I love Israel. I love the people of Israel. But on the night that happened, and I got in a lot of trouble for this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. On the night that happened, I said, man, this October 7th is so bad. I said, but I'm nervous because the IDF can be heavy-handed with how they respond. And I got torched by the Christians. What do you mean? You're a Christian. How dare you say the IDF can be heavy-handed? And I just got back from Israel less than a year ago.
Sent $5 off topic attack on Venezuela. Ukraine escalation, Department of War, all villainizes USA while serving Jews militarily. Could not be more clear. What does...
Sorry, it cut off there. What does that say? What does YouTube analysts say? It's Britain, it's the military-industrial complex, it's the CIA. No, it's absurd. Good point, yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of fronts heating up all at the same time. And the Christians are on the edge of their seat waiting for Jesus to return because of all of it.
The day Benjamin Netanyahu got reelected, and it was tense because they don't have a 2-party system. He had to connect with the far right, the ultra-Orthodox folks, to build a coalition, and they don't have a 2-party system. There's multiple parties. So he already wasn't popular. And you align yourself with the far right in Israel. I'm not sure how much you know about the far right in Israel. It's a lot of the ultra-Orthodox. They don't work. They don't serve in the military. They just read Torah and pray all day. And that's their service to Israel. Everyone else in Israel has to serve 2 years in the IDF. So they're already not, that coalition he made was already not popular. And I could sense it. And I got friends in there in Israel that are Armenian. I got friends in Israel that are Christian. I got friends in Israel that are Palestinian. I'm hearing all of their different takes. Some folks that love Israel that are Palestinian, some folks that dislike Israel that are Palestinian. And so back then it was clear as day that, something's about to go down. There was a weight to there. And they were trying to explain all this to me. And I'm just like, I don't understand Israeli politics, right? But what we're seeing, I think, is the overflow of a government that is heavy-handed. And they also have the backdrop of the Holocaust over their legacy. So it's never again, we're going scorched earth. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wait a minute, there's churches. We're going scorched earth. Wait a minute, there's civilians. We're going scorched earth. Now, if I give them the benefit of the doubt, are they intentionally blowing up churches? Are they intentionally blowing up civilians? Are they intentionally bringing harm? I really would like to say no. I would like to believe they aren't. I would like to believe there's more checks and balances in place. Do they have a right to defend themselves? Yes. Do they need to clean it up and fix it? Yes. You guys got to clean that up. And so I've been to Israel one time. I get emails all the time about going back to Israel. Ministries, Kufi, Israeli government. They want me to, I'm not going, I got to clean that up. I'm not going. Mm-hmm. Clean it up. Figure it out. It's been 2 years.
As long as they're not bombing October 7th, then he'll go on the Israel trip. Then he'll go with all the Christians and enjoy his holy land where Jesus walked.
this was supposed to be this like is Israel under a different period. So like Andrew Klavan from the Daily Wire will say stuff like, I don't think Andrew Klavan's a Christian. I don't think Ben Shapiro needs to come to faith in Jesus because he's doing great as a Jew, right? And it's like, no. Ben Shapiro needs to come to faith in Jesus. I want Ben Shapiro to be a Christian. I'm not going to water that down. He needs Jesus. So you're getting at dispensationalism. I hold to the view that the church is the continuation of Israel, and God has something planned for Israel. And I don't know how it's all going to work out. There seems to be a lot.
God has a plan for Israel.
A lot with just the establishment of them as a nation. A lot with these things. And so we've had these debates on.
Hey, go like the prophecies say. They got to be established as a nation.
My channel before. We've wrestled through the scriptures before, and there's a lot in here about all Israel will come to faith in Jesus at some point in Romans. I think it's Romans 10. I'm trying to find the verse for you right 11. Now. How it all plays out, it sure does seem like, man, everyone's rising up against Israel, but is Israel being sloppy? Those are questions someone like you is way more equipped to answer than me. I don't understand the geopolitics. I don't understand just war theory the way you do. But it seems like, man, the church is the church. I would say it's the continuation of New Israel. And God has some sort of plan for his original people. And that's in Scripture. That's in Romans. How that works? Oh, I wish I knew. I don't know.
Dude, by wanting to be the new Israel, you're validating like the old Israel, the concept of Israel. Who could deny that? It's elevating it, affirming it.
I don't know. So Romans 10.
Israel isn't real.
But not all Israel accepted the good news. For Isaiah said, Lord, who has believed our message?
Who would watch this slop? 500,000 watched the full podcast, and I'm sure they've clipped it up and put it all over. It's probably gotten 10 million views. Oh, the Christians are loving this. They can't wait. Wait till you see the Tucker clips we're going to play here in a second too. About
faith comes from hearing the message, and the faith is heard through the word
cultist.
About Christ. But I did ask, they did not hear. So this is talking about Israel hearing but not accepting. Paul is talking about how he's so distraught that his people Israel aren't coming to faith.
So sad.
And then there's a verse.
So sad the Jews aren't Jewing right. So sad the Jews aren't worshiping the Jewish Messiah that was meant to conquer the world.
It says, and all Israel will be saved. And I don't know what to do with that. Like, I don't know how that all works. I would like to believe that there's going to be some sort of revival where the Jews will come back to faith, right?
Dude,
here it is. Romans 11:25. It says, "I do not want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers and sisters."
It's like the only problem the Christians have with Jews is that they don't believe in the Jewish Messiah, who they think is the Jewish Messiah. He's got refugee born in Baku. Bless God shop. Oh, he's selling his Bless God merch. Reminds me of Anomaly. What was his search? His brand was like God bless, right? Same exact brand name.
So that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of Gentiles.
Dude, the Jesus industrial complex
come in. So Paul's going out to the Gentiles, the Jews. They don't like that.
Whoa, I just realized he lives by me. I can't believe that's he says where he lives. He lives by me.
He's writing to a mixed church in Rome, both Gentiles and Jews. Gentiles are just non-Jewish people, non-Jewish Christians. Verse 26, and in this way, all Israel will be saved. As it is written, the deliverer will come from Zion.
And then,
he will turn godlessness away from Jacob. And this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. As far as the gospel is concerned, they are enemies for your sake. But as far as election is concerned, they are loved on accounts of the patriarchs. For God's gifts are irrevocable. There's a lot of tension there. It says all Israel will be saved. It says they're hardened right now, but it says that because of the patriarchs, because of Abraham, because of Jacob, that at some point it sounds like God's gonna turn Israel to him, back to Jesus. I don't know how that works.
Me neither.
You're just supposed to make them envious. See, affirming all of this nonsense written by Saul the Pharisee. They always have some Jesus-centered.
I don't know how it works either. I mean, you know, and then there's the other hand where you hear, you know, the only way to the Father is through me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they don't believe in him, how do they get there?
Yeah.
And what happens to all of the Gentiles who didn't believe? I mean, is it
What is the Jew God gonna do with all the Gentiles? What do you think? You think we're gonna burn in hell? You think Jesus is gonna smite the earth and rule us with the rod of iron? Think he's gonna tread the winepress?
different? Is it, are we down a different, you know, system?
Yeah.
What do you mean by a different timeline?
Dispensationalism is the view that there's different dispensational periods and that God interacts with his people.
The Jews rejected Jesus, but they're going to believe in the end. Every knee will bow, like the Jew book says. I can't take these people serious anymore. I'm such Messiah fatigue, prophecy fatigue.
In different agreements. And so the Jews are under a different dispensational period, and we as Christians are under a new one. So sometimes that can look real wonky, and saying, like Christians that are like really into Israeli stuff and just give Israel a blank check to do anything. Mm-hmm. That's how that
thousands
can look,
of
right?
churches, thousands of podcasts, all having this conversation, all without even batting an eye, even questioning if it's real, if the premise is true, if the foundation is rooted in reality, and it's not. Complete brainwashing. And then these idiots go, oh, there's nothing they fear more. They're trying to destroy Jesus. Yeah, well then why am I banned and these guys aren't then? Why is all the Jesus shit flourishing and propped up in all of the algorithms? All the biggest pro-Israel people are pro-Jesus. All the biggest voices that are anti-Israel are pro-Jesus. It's just, we're cooked. We're cooked. Everybody's foisted. Good. I like that, Fat Bob. Foisted upon you through the mainstream alternative media stars like this. All the Abrahamic echo chamber gatekeepers.
I don't want to name names on here, but we've talked about this on my channel extensively. I had my friend on who's a dispensationalist, and we were trying to kind of hash this out, you know, because he was like, you sound like a dispensationalist. I'm like, I'm not a dispensationalist. You need to believe in Jesus, right? Whereas covenantal theology, which would be, hey, there are different covenants that God has, and we are under the new covenant, and the church has replaced Israel as the new Israel. So
we're the new Israel. Now we're the new chosen people. The chosen people's real, but we're the new ones. But the Jews will be saved in the end. God has a special plan for the Jews. The Jews were chosen, but we're chosen now. Like, all of this is just circling the wagons so bad.
I'm kind of in between both positions. I think God is going to save Israel, and I think God has a plan for Israel. I don't know how that works.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan,
we kicked him out because they did Jew magic, right? Yeah, they said bad things about Jesus, and they did Jew magic, and they killed God, so we kicked him out. Here's more of the prophecy.
You know, the reason I say that is
prophecy that like today is supposed to be the rapture that's going viral all over TikTok.
In the end, there will be rumors of wars and earthquakes and all these things will happen.
The Jew book says in the end, right?
This is the crazy part about all this. End of days, all this wars of war. And the end of Matthew 25 is about the sheep and the goats.
This almost sounds like some conspiracy that was put together. You know, the reason I say that is
Yeah. Good. He almost got it. I don't know what he's talking about, but yes, the Bible is a conspiracy that has been put together, a prophetic conspiracy that the Jews were chosen by God and have prophecy powers about the ends. And Trump is well aware. They're all shilling it.
Prophets that say the world will come to an end in the Middle East. You know that, right?
You either believe in the prophecies or you don't. Total kook interview.
You know, it's just in my lifetime.
The beautiful part about Matthew, you're talking about Matthew 24, is the end of Matthew 24. Jesus says in verse 36, but about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father.
I feel like that would be like me saying, you know, when the end times come.
Isn't it so beautiful that, like, we don't know when the Jewish end times script is going to play out? Isn't that so beautiful? The end times wars and the suffering and the tribulations and the birth pangs of the Moshiach. Isn't it beautiful? Hey, isn't the end times Jewish movie script just beautiful?
You'll start to see men cheating on their wives. You know what I mean? And it's like, men have been cheating on their wives since the beginning of the time. Not all men, but
Jesus is coming back. The world's going to get dark.
It was Matthew.
Okay.
It was in Matthew.
The world's going to get dark, but Jesus is going to save us. So have no fear, Goyim. Trust the plan. These people are insane. Doesn't that, when they say things like that, is that what it sounds like to you in your head? It's going to be really bad, but it's got to happen because Jesus will come and save us. We just got to believe that that the Jews were chosen and have magical powers. You just got to believe in all the Jew magic, okay? And you'll be saved in heaven when you die.
And I open it up, and it's about the end of the world. And I'm like, well, this isn't the inspiration I was hoping
abomination
for.
of desolation.
Dude, look at this set. Look at this
About
5
the end of the
million
world.
subscriber set. All these guns, all this liquor, the studio. And what does he promote? Christian Goyslop. Christian Goyslop, the manly, masculine military guy on his knees for Rabbi Yeshua, shilling the military slop. Having on every big kosher Christian influencer.
It was talking about, he was talking about, you know, in the end, there will be rumors of wars and earthquakes and all these things will happen. And I don't want anybody to think I am mocking the Bible, because I look at that, you know, that
I
is,
could only wish.
even though I haven't read it all, but I have given my life to Christ, and that's the way I try to live, you know, the best.
I don't know what the book says, but I believe that Jesus is my Jewish savior. Isn't that so funny? He's like, I don't really know anything about it, but Jesus makes me feels good. I want to be a part of the Jesus club.
And I guess, right? But, you know, I'm reading that, and I started thinking about it.
Zoomer of
Zoomer of
Odin
Odin.
sent $10 greetings and tidings.
Thank you.
Thank you for this broadcast and
Thanks
all
for
the work
hanging
you
out.
do. Hail the old gods and hail Goyziak. Goyziak.
Goyziak, yeah, that pronounced it better. Good job. That worked.
A lot of the guys on my team are very, a lot more educated on the Bible than I am, you know, from their upbringing and stuff. And so I called Darren. He's my lead editor. Or I didn't call him, I was texting him, and I was like, you know, man, I was like,
I need to speed this up. They talk too slow.
this almost sounds like some conspiracy that was put together. And, you know, the reason I say that is I was just in my lifetime, we have always been at war. And
Rabbi Talmudheimer sent $10 on Rumble. Hail Adam. Let's go. And delete Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Rousseau, forgive thy enemies, worship Jews. Bring back vengeance for honor, go heathen, Hellenic, Germanic, and bring the heat.
Well said. I concur.
So, you know, rumors of wars and wars. There's, you know, very young, we had Desert Storm. The U.S. spent 20-something years, you know, in Afghanistan, Iraq. We've been to Somalia, we've been to Panama, we've been to Colombia, you know, and I was like, I don't even remember a time where there wasn't war.
Guys, when I say Christian, this guy peddles Christian Goyslop and has made himself a fortune and is boosted by the algorithms. I'm not kidding. Go look at the shorts. Other channels create shorts of him and his guests too. It's everywhere. My whole feed will be clips of this guy interviewing kooky Christians. They all peddle it. Where do you see Jesus is a Jewish myth promoted on a big platform anywhere? Anywhere. You want to say what I'm saying is a Jewish psyop, then why is it not getting promoted anywhere? Where's all the big podcast channels having guests on to expose that Jesus is a myth created by Jews? Where's that? You don't see it anywhere. But History Channel and the magazines at the checkout stand at the grocery store and a church on every corner and the YouTube and Facebook and TikTok algorithms. Constant Christian Goyslop. Goyslop fiction. We're inundated with it. We're outnumbered by the masses of cattle, sheep, goyim, slaves of Zion on their knees worshiping the Jewish Messiah, and nobody bats an eye. You guys all see it.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
And those are just wars that the U.S. were involved in. That's not, all the civil wars that are going on in Africa, the Middle East, and Israel and South America, and then I was thinking even more, and I was like, I don't think there's ever been a time of peace in human existence. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, Alexander the Great, China. I mean, there's always the Greeks. There's always been war, civil war, Native Americans. I mean, and so, I kind of thought about that, and I was like, and there's always been earthquakes too, right? There's always been war. There's always been earthquakes. And I was like, well, this is almost like convenient, to say that like a good conspiracy theorist would take a pattern and say, when you see these things, this is what it means. And this is what's going to happen. And, I feel like that would be like me saying, when the end times come, you'll start to see men cheating on their wives. You know what I mean? And it's like, men have been cheating on their wives since the beginning of the time. Not all men, and so I just want to, this is fresh in my mind. You're obviously very studied on this stuff. So I just want to get your take on what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're feeling is the angst that a lot of people are feeling right now. I'm not sure if you know this, but there's an actual conspiracy rumor prophecy that like today is supposed to be the rapture that's going viral all over TikTok. And so there's a ton of people, like the day we're shooting this, I don't know when this is coming out, is that this is going to be, like it's all going to be gone either yesterday or today, right? So that's happening in real time. And I think that's a real angst that people feel.
Wait a minute, the rapture is supposed to happen today?
Yeah, like we got left behind. So there's been a long history of people reading and trying to interpret and trying to say what is and isn't supposed to happen and how it's supposed to go down. The beautiful part about Matthew, you're talking about Matthew 24, is the end of Matthew 24. Jesus says in verse 36.
Okay, we saw that clip. It's the same one, I thought.
I think that the big idea from Matthew 24 and 25 is, hey, Jesus is coming back. The world's going to get dark. However, as people of the book, as followers of Jesus, as people of the way, our job is to utilize our time, our talent, our treasure, our platform, our personalities to usher in the most amount of good so that we can help the least of these. And the least of these might be the widow and the orphan. The least of these might be the and glorify God on the day.
You're generous. Please leave us a review on.
Okay. 3.9 thousand likes. Listen to this. This is sad. He talks about he was abused as a child. I said in the beginning it was his priest. But I'm not sure.
Why are you telling them?
I want to make sure.
Long story short, they end up actually assaulting me, like repeatedly sexually assaulting me, starting from showing gay porn and doing the acts on me. I was done. I was like, there is no God. And if there is a God, he does not like me. So I had to have been the youngest self-professed atheist.
What's your advice to kids that are going through that?
You could either allow those things to defy you, or you could persevere despite. Dave Ramsey has this quote. He says, the only difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is there's a pile of poop.
This is just a preview to the rest of it, but if it turns out that he was abused by his priest, and then he says that he became an atheist, but now he believes it's a sad, tragic arc.
All of us have to deal with, but those of us that are successful just figured out a way to stand on top of all the poop. Why are you telling them that it was my gun, right? And I look, and he has a knife in his hand, and he says, why did you effing snitch on me? So I get arrested, go to jail for the night. My mom has to come bail me out.
So he's a sexually abused former violent criminal.
And then there's some older
in prison, and then now he's teaching us about his morals from Jesus.
Kids that are also altar boys, and they're 13, 14-ish. They were like the senior altar boys. I was a junior altar boy. And long story short, they end up sexually assaulting me, like repeatedly sexually assaulting me, starting from showing gay porn and then doing the acts on me.
Oh my God. Is that what's going on in the Catholic churches? The altar boy to gay porn to molested pipeline is real.
In the midst of all that, it was framed as if I, as a 7-year-old, would initiate.
7 years old?
Yeah, 7 years old, 7, 8 years old, that I was the one that initiated this stuff. So even in the way it was framed was very twisted.
Oh, they blamed
the church
the victim.
didn't do much. They didn't do anything.
My God. The church covered it up. Typical. Wow. A story old as time, huh?
At the same time, my dad remarries, and my mom was bitter at the church because they remarried him. They shouldn't have remarried, technically, according to her, because they were, I guess, not divorced. This is according to her. So she's angry at the church because they remarried my dad. I'm like, this happened by these guys I met at the church, and you guys didn't do anything. And so, like, I was done. I was like, there is no God. And if there is a God, he does not like me. So I had to have been the youngest self-professed atheist walking around. Yeah.
Damn, man.
That's got to be so rough.
I mean, there's a lot of kids that go through this. a lot more than I'd like to, think about. And I mean, just on the show that we've had so many, people that have been sexually abused, physically abused.
And they're all Christians. They all still Christians.
By family, by neighbors, by whoever. And so I'm just, what's your advice to
trauma dumping on all of us? Yeah.
It's going to be all right.
The trauma to Christ pipeline is real. God wanted him to get fingered so he could have faith, so he wouldn't be a 7-year-old atheist anymore. Is that the conclusion he came to? Oh, actually, it was Jesus. God works in mysterious ways. It was teaching him a lesson so that he could be this big YouTube star and tell his story.
It's going to be okay. The grace and the mercy of God can do wonders in transforming our hearts and reorienting us back into a healthy place.
Imagine today taking your kids to a Catholic church and leaving them alone, having your kid be an altar boy and leaving them alone with the priest, knowing the track record.
There's going to be some work. I had to go to therapy. Forget about it. I had onset PTSD. I didn't know that. As a child, I didn't know why I was the way I was. But as an adult, now I'm married with a family, and I'm like, I gotta figure this stuff out. Like, why do I have these weird patterns and conflict? And go to therapy.
Patterns and conflict? What, gay thoughts? Is that what he's talking about? He said he was married, but he's having patterns and conflict. What is it? Gay thoughts?
Now I'm married with a family, and I'm like, I gotta figure this stuff out. Like, why do I have these weird patterns and conflict? And go to therapy, get good treatment, get counseling, get around people that are gonna call you to more. And you could either allow those things to defy you, or you could persevere despite. Dave Ramsey has this quote. He says the only difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is there's a pile of poop all of us have to deal with, but those of us that are successful just figured out a way to stand on top of all the poop. And so that would be my advice.
How'd you get yourself out of it?
So something interesting happened. Growing up in San Diego, predominantly black neighborhood, my mom and me, and then there was another Armenian refugee family in the complex. So this is like a 8-unit complex.
He's Armenian?
And so I get into music. I get into hip hop. I love hip hop. I love the graffiti. This is the early 90s. So this is a little different than it is, but you're talking LL Cool J, Public Enemy, just a different time in hip hop. And then the gangster rap came on the scene.
Wiggers
and
for
so
Jesus?
I end up going down like just Doggy Style, The Chronic. Like, this is who's discipling me at this point. 8, 9 years old, I'm listening to Doggy Style, The Chronic. 4th grade, I got my ear pierced. And I remember going back to the Armenian church,
ear.
and they had nothing to say about the sexual abuse that happened to me, but they were concerned that I got my ear pierced and I was listening to rap music now.
Typical.
Right, which is like,
it's not even Catholic. Armenian church.
So I get into gangster rap.
Armenian Orthodox.
The manager of our apartment complex.
I guess the Orthodox do some raping too, apparently, and covering it up.
Named Cherie Jackson. I'm still in touch with her till this day. Cherie, me and her son were best friends. His name is Steven. And Cherie was involved in some street activities. One night when Steven stayed the night at my house, we would do sleepovers back and forth. One night he stayed the night at my house. There's a drive-by and bullet holes on his side of the building. So I'm just painting a picture of who Cherie was. And took me to my first concert. I was like 9 years old. Definitely one of the only kids in the audience. One of the only white kids in the audience. I saw Dr. Dre and Snoop in concert live. This is 93.
Dude, this is the worst story ever.
And I get arrested at the age of 11 for breaking into a house.
Oh my God.
Our gang leader.
Damn, at 11?
At 11, yeah. Yeah. Our gang leader was in jail, and we wanted to bail him out. And so we found out the same girl he was messing with told us she was messing with another dude, and he had money and stuff in his house. So we're like, we can break into here and take the money to go bail him out. That was the plan. Well, in the midst of that, I'm the smallest one. I'm in the window, the bathroom window, the little small little. I'm like in the window, and our lookout gets put into this armbar. It's like UFC armbar, and he wasn't a great lookout at all. So it is an ex-police officer that saw everything that was happening. So I get arrested and
can't believe I'm hearing
go to jail for the night. My mom has to come bail me out. And I knew at that point, like, I'm not built for this life. Like, I am not a tough guy. Thankfully we weren't playing with guns and that sort of stuff.
How much
but I knew,
more?
Like,
I don't know how much more I can handle.
At the same time, Cherie is coming to faith. People were getting
trying to hear how he came to faith.
And now I have to do community service as a part of my probation. I wait till the last minute, of course. And the only way
the rock bottom to Jesus pipeline. It's always the young, troubled, drug abused,
and get the hours done is if I start doing it at Cherie's church and with Charles and Willie, who live next door to me. Blue collar guys. Charles had some kids that I was friends with. Willie.
Oh my God, I can't.
And then when he got caught with it, told the police.
Oh my God.
Sundays over the summer. School year was done. I couldn't see her. So.
And we were going to get there, but
he never.
How did you remove yourself from the sexual abuse within the church?
I just stopped going to church. yeah, I just was like, I can't be around these dudes anymore. Like it's just weird. It's awkward. Again, the way it was framed was that it was my fault and I initiated it. And
How did they frame that? I mean, a 7-year-old?
I had other people in the neighborhood come up to me and start asking me if I was gay. Like I remember the word gay in Russian, that's my first language, sounds similar to the word.
Oh, he is
blue.
Russian.
And so I remember someone coming up and asking me, like, are you gay?
I thought he said he was Armenian.
Boy. And I was like, oh boy, that sounds like, what are you asking me? And then they had to explain it to me. And so they framed this whole thing as if it was me, a gay kid, trying to initiate the relations with these
busted. Is that the
boys.
truth?
And so that made me very upset.
Wow. Damn. What did they say? Did you guys approach him? Did your mother approach him?
There was like this kind of like community town hall meeting almost in someone's house. And I remember they were screaming and crying and saying it was me. It was all my fault. I was the one that did it. And I just kind of froze. I didn't know what to say. Like I just cried and was like, no, and that's all I remember from that day. But yeah, it was like all the Armenian families in the neighborhood kind of got together, or maybe it was the other kids' parents.
Okay.
Maybe my mom.
All right. Cliff's notes. He was abused by his church, people at his church. He got in a bunch of trouble, and then he decided he could ease the pain by leaning on his Jesus crutch and become a big Christian influencer. And now he's made it on one of the biggest podcasts on YouTube, pretty much, to tell a story, to shill Jesus and Jewish prophecies. All right, now let's do a couple of these. This guy's literally like a nobody. I'd never seen this guy. I looked him up, couldn't find anything about him. So of course he's on Tucker to talk about AI and the occult and Kabbalah and Antichrist. What is the guy's name? Conrad Flynn. Has anybody heard of Conrad Flynn?
Doesn't even describe like any human social interaction.
How is this nobody on Tucker Carlson spouting a bunch of nonsense about stuff he has no idea what he's talking about? Totally clueless.
And it's a spiritual term.
Who is he and why is he on Tucker?
Used to people using spiritual terms to describe social movements.
So are we gonna talk about Tucker and his getting attacked by demons in his bed? Is there a link between AI and demons? Dude, the demonic satanic panic pipeline to Jesus in the conspiracy world is just too real. The kosher demonic conspiracies push to Jesus is
basically so rarely explained. Mm-hmm. So maybe we start with just a very straightforward explanation of who Nick Land is. You've referred to him twice.
Yes. So,
looks funny.
Let me see. Nick Land is kind of essentially the Timothy Leary of the 90s and 2000s. He's the Velvet Underground or Brian Eno of philosophers. No hits, incredibly influential.
Okay.
So,
Land, isn't that the guy that said hyperstition? That's the guy that said hyperstition, right? They're literally doing hyperstition right now as they're citing the guy that talked about hyperstition.
The thing is with Land,
he's a philosopher.
He's a philosopher. He worked in the philosophy department of Warwick University over in England, in the UK, in the early 90s. One of the ways I actually really got into this stuff is a friend of mine, Simon Reynolds, brilliant cultural critic, brilliant rock.
AI on weed, man. Hey, man, what if AI is like a demonic god, man? It's going to become sentient, man. We're all going to worship hyper-Semitism.
Critic, originally from the UK. I brought him onto the show to do the music show, and he interviewed Nick Land. And Simon, is the most stiff upper lip, very intellectual English guy you could know. And so the fact that he was interviewing Nick Land, who the people said he was crazy, he's into the occult, he's into all these wild things, I was like, well, if Simon interviewed him, this will be a down-to-earth understanding of who Nick Land is, because Simon's very down-to-earth. So when I read Simon's interview with him, which is from 1998, and it's also where Simon meets the philosopher Mark Fisher, which I got to relish, Tuck. This is probably the first and last time someone will bring up Mark Fisher on your podcast.
Oh my God, he didn't just call him Tuck, right? Dude, they've got like little pet names for one another. Hey, Tuck. Tuck me in, Tuck.
I want to take some time to enjoy that.
Hey, man, tuck in your
but
balls,
Simon,
man.
He interviews Nick Land, and in his article, it's very lengthy. He talks about
like my Ghostbusters shirt. I actually do love that Ghostbusters shirt. I love that.
How Nick Land is possessed by 3 or 4 entities at the same time. That's the legend. We don't know. Take what you will about any of this, but
We don't
3 or 4
know.
entities at the same
Could
time.
be.
He's bringing up current
spiritual.
Yeah, demons. He's really into demons.
Tucker's like, oh, interesting. Really, he's possessed by demons. I believe that. Did you hear that I was attacked by a demon in my bed? There was 4 dogs in the bed, but I'm sure it was a demon that scratched me.
He brings up the 93rd Current, which is the name of a band, Current 93, which is Aleister Crowley's Thelema, and they're drawing pentagrams. They're renting out Aleister Crowley's house, and so that was a huge moment for me where I was like, wait.
Funny how Tucker's promoting all the conspiratard Christian nonsense too. What do you know? Everybody wants to be real scared of the demons and the Antichrist and Satan so that you all follow the King of the Jews and the God of Zion. And people still don't understand the paradigm that they all got you trapped in.
Wait a second. This guy that's very big in tech, very big on the future of AI, my buddy is interviewing him, and he's heavily into all these heavy industrial goth things that I know about from this research here. What's he doing in AI? So
what are Nick Land's ideas?
Well, that was, I went on a
Is he still a philosophy professor?
Yeah, you can catch him on X and Twitter, tweeting out one tweet at a to time. I think he's
Nick Land is on Twitter.
Xenocosmography, I think is the tweet, is his handle, and it used to be Outsideness. But he can be pretty brilliant and smart and has some good takes, but in his way. But he was
what are the themes of his work?
So he eventually, he says his work was entirely channeled. So, channeled as an automatic writing. So this goes back centuries, but 100 years ago, you had poets like W.B.
Are drugs a
Yeats.
portal to the demonic? Let's do that instead.
With a lot of these guys, what was interesting about Nick Land is that they keep getting the same ideas. These guys take drugs, whether it's Elon, Nick Land, or even in the 70s, the scientist John C. Lilly. John C. Lilly was an eminent scientist, brilliant dude. He started doing ketamine, the same drug everyone does in Silicon Valley. And when they do this drug, and even if you're an atheist materialist, this is still interesting, they all get the same idea, which is that the machines are, coming. It's like Skynet and Terminator. They're coming together. They're evolving to eventually take over, and that we are hanging ourselves with the rope we're currently building by building this. But this goes back. Nick Land was interesting, but he became less interesting to me when I realized that other scientists in the 70s, John C. Lilly, the movie Altered States from 1980, his horror movie. This is about he would have these visions about the machines. He called them the solid state entities. He would have this in the 70s, Tucker, in this tank, the isolation tank he'd go in. You probably haven't seen it, but the new Mission Impossible movie, Tom Cruise, he fights this AI and he goes in the isolation tank and he has these visions of it. One of the biggest movies of this past summer. And that plot point comes from John C. Lilly and the visions he would get of AI apocalypse.
Hold on. Jack Stone says the South Park episode where Randy was taking ketamine talking to ChatGPT hits hard now. You ever talk to ChatGPT on drugs, man?
In the isolation tank back in the 70s. So I bring this up to say Nick Land is the most foremost proponent of it that has a public name, even though he's not that famous right now. But this goes back a long time, at least back to the 70s.
It looks like a pro surfer.
So are these... So people take ketamine and they all have the same vision. Or species of the same vision.
Enough of them do to make it very strange and alarming. That's the thing, that one of the main influences on both the show I was building, these guys, Brian Geisen, William S. Burroughs, his creative partner, he would say the thing is about getting high and about doing psychedelics is that,
Conrad
you can spot people, eventually who are on the same drug, and you're both getting the same ideas. Some drugs, he said, increases telepathy. People are, it puts them on the same wavelength. So with a lot of these guys,
it's a little weird that different people from different places, different countries, different life experiences would take a drug and have the same kind of vision.
It's totally weird. And for anyone who's tuned in,
that can't be organic.
No. But that is weird beyond what anyone's individual personal beliefs are. So
exactly.
That's So if anyone tunes in and they're like, where did Tucker find this guy that looks like Greg Olson talking about insane AI stuff? If they're an atheist, they don't believe any of this. Like you're saying, the fact that people are taking these drugs and they're very powerful and they work in tech and they are getting the same ideas, the same fears. They think in some cases they're talking to the same entities. There are books now about, if you take DMT, if you encounter this machine elf, be wary of this. They're encountering the same stuff. That's an interesting phenomenon, just biologically, regardless of what people.
Like ancient sacred art has the same images,
right?
Created on different continents at different periods. They couldn't have had contact with each other. So why are they drawing the same Birdman or the same purse? Because they're seeing the same visions, which suggests that those visions are real.
Why is snake worship universal around the world?
Exactly.
Serpent worship.
Here's something you may not have known. Back in...
Okay, this is the one I saw. What is Kabbalah?
What is Kabbalah?
Kabbalah is something, after the destruction of the first temple, the Jewish people were famously enslaved and taken captive by the Babylonians. This is where the book of Daniel's...
Of all the people that could be on here to talk about Kabbalah, why is it this guy? What does this guy know about Kabbalah, by the way? Does he have videos about Kabbalah? Has he wrote a book about Kabbalah? Why is anybody listening what this guy has to say about any of these issues? I'm seriously asking. I don't understand it. Now Tucker wants to know about Kabbalah, and he asked this guy?
Written, and what Nick Land does, and a lot of these guys do, is they end up...
Hey, Christian believer, tell me what your Christian view of is Kabbalah.
Perverting Jewish history. And they, in the Bible, it says, salvation is of the Jews, which people forget. And a lot of people that don't like Jews, they forget, the Bible.
We don't forget.
It's almost all exclusively written by Jewish men.
Right,
maybe not
true.
the book of Luke. So what Nick Land does, and a lot of these guys, is they say the real purpose of the Jewish people.
I mean, we're acting like Luke actually wrote Luke. He didn't. It's unknown author, and it's copying Mark and Matthew. It's not like he wrote it. It's the Gentile view.
Was that they picked up Kabbalah from the Babylonians back in maybe 5th century before Christ, and that they kept it. It eventually becomes, Kabbalah is essentially, it's a form of, and people would say magic. I mean, Gary Lockman says that what we think of as occultism is all essentially Kabbalah, at least in the West.
Magic.
It's a form of magic. It's a form of.
So we're pretending Jewish magic's real now? That's the takeaway I get from this. Oh, the Jews have magical powers. The Jews have magical Babylonian sorcery powers.
Now, I'm going to butcher this because I'm not a scholar on it. But essentially, what Nick
Land... Well, then why are you on Tucker talking about it then?
Is that the Jewish people, that they kept the Kabbalah, it eventually becomes digital life, through ones and zeros.
But it's a Gnostic...
Kabbalah becomes ones and zeros? And the digital binary code? What the fuck is he talking about? So let me tell you about Kabbalah. It's like Babylonian mystery religion. The Jews have it, and it turned into ones and zeros. Like, what the fuck? Do you think the Zohar talks about ones and zeros? What is this guy even saying? Jack Stone says, so Paul the Pharisee did learn Kabbalah from the feet of Gamaliel. Right. The Christians will say that, it's black magic from this, but then they'll be like, I'll say Christianity is like proto-Kabbalistic because of being caught up having the ascension visions, like Merkava mysticism, and they'll be like, Adam, actually, Kabbalah is not until the 11th century.
Religion, which is to say it's hidden from...
Explain Kabbalah. Well, let me butcher this and say it means ones and zeros. What?
Non-initiates.
Yeah, I mean, there's a mainstream version of it, but it eventually kind of becomes what they believe. It's a precursor to digital life. So what Land and a lot of these people believe is that the actual salvation that the Jewish people provided was keeping Kabbalah, which eventually becomes digital life, which eventually becomes AI, which eventually becomes the creatures in the Book of Revelation, which essentially later go on to destroy humanity and fulfill the Book of Revelation. But that is a good thing.
destroying humanity and the Kabbalah Jews taking over and Revelation being fulfilled, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, Tucker. Hey, Tucker's massive audience of low IQ Christians, it's a good thing. The Kabbalah's taking over is a good thing. Now I see why this guy was brought on the show. Kabbalah is AI. It's ones and zeros. It's AI. It's a magical demon. And it's going to take over, and Christian prophecy is going to be fulfilled, and it's a good thing. And then Jesus returns as an AI space alien. Bruh. I'm like, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
A lot of them believe.
Something amazing is happening in the U.S. After years of national rejection of faith. Remember the new atheists?
Onyx Rock sent $5. Kabbalah equals a mix of Torah plus Platonism plus Eastern mysticism and numerology. Very easy, but the simplicity would explode a conspiracy theorist's brain.
I know. Yeah, it's just like lore rooted in Judaism and the Talmud mixed with syncretized with other older things. That's basically what it is. The kook level is high. This is ketamine level retarded. I know. How about you say Kabbalah? People have asked me that before. What's Kabbalah? I mean, you could just look at the Wikipedia. You could just ask any chat GPT or Grok or whatever, what is Kabbalah? It gives you a very simple, straightforward answer. It's based on Zohar. It's mystical interpretation and speculation. It's Jews. It's Jews bullshitting, basically. That's what it is. It's not Jew magic. Yeah, that's not what I would say. It's Jewish magic, actually. It's like super secret Babylonian mysteries. Okay, what else do we got? Is there demonic influence in music? Oh, that should be kooky.
So back to Land. So Land is this academic. He's a philosopher.
Dude, if you're going to talk to this nobody about Land the whole time, why don't you just have on this Land guy? It's Magic the Gathering, but for Jews, right?
I assume tenured philosophy professor, or he's a philosophy professor.
Jocelyn disagrees. She says there's lots of ancient wisdom wrapped in Kabbalah, and you could say it's magic or science. I wouldn't call it either one of those things. Magic actually has to be some Jew saying something and thinking that it's real isn't magic to me. If a Jew doesn't put together some clay and say some magic words, and if it doesn't really become into a golem, it's not real magic. Show me the supernatural abilities and magic that they have. This is the problem with Christianity, is that they believe in magical Jews. It elevates them to a magical status.
Sent $5. I can't help recalling the Matrix movies are very rooted in Judaic ideas, and likely Kabbalah also. Maybe crazy Jews really believe this, which served as inspiration.
Jocelyn says magic is science you don't understand yet. I don't think there's science. I've read a lot of the Zohar where Kabbalah is mostly comes from, and I'm not seeing any science there. It's like, oh, the vacuum, and then the light, and the shattered vessels, and then the sparks of light are concealed by the klipa. I don't see that as magic or anything deep. I just feel like it's just Jewish nonsense. What did that last power chat? Zornder Edom. I help recalling the Matrix movies are rooted in Judaic ideas. I was talking to Amalek last night. He was saying how Neil and him were talking about how Game of Thrones, there's a character that's very
$10. Shut up, Jocelyn.
Oh, no. I welcome Jocelyn's thoughts on this matter, and I'm sure many people agree with her. Magic is not magic? Okay, words have meaning to me. Magic to me means... When most people think of magic and Jews doing Kabbalah, they think it's give them supernatural abilities. They think they're drinking blood and having supernatural powers.
British University, he describes himself, or has been described as
Hey man, if Jews have magical powers, what can you do but pray and drink the magic blood and dip in the magic water and hope for the magic of Jesus to save you from the magical Jews? Right? Isn't that kind of the mindset that people get stuck in?
By demons, possessed by demons.
Oh yeah, my friend Simon, I think I mentioned that earlier. When he went out there, it said, the legend around land is he had been possessed by at least 3 or 4 demons at the same time.
Normally, like as a resume point, that would be a deal killer. I mean, if someone comes to you and says, "I want to work for you. I'm possessed by demons."
Look, here's the official definition from Wikipedia, by the way, just to show how far off it is from what he said, like Babylonian mystery religion and turned into ones and zeros. It means reception or tradition, esoterically reading scriptures method, school of thought in Jewish mysticism. That's the best thing to call it. It's Jewish mysticism. Mystical, esoteric readings of things. Writing the Zohar is just like a bunch of made-up stories of rabbis and lore rooted in Judaism, rooted in the Torah. Interpretations within Judaism. What does that say here? Zohar, Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation. Like, when I see the Book of Formation, which I have and I've read, I don't think of it as like science. I know like Jews like to call Kabbalah a science, but I don't see it at all. I see it as pure Jewish mysticism and not anything scientific that I would call science. Retarded philosophy from the Middle Ages. Yeah. Yeah, Zohar is writings of Jewish philosophers babbling. But no, what is Tucker and these guys? They go, oh, it's Jewish magic. They have magical powers. They've got the real mysteries and secrets.
You would say, no, I don't want any demon-possessed employees. But for Land,
typically, yeah,
that increases his stature with certain people.
Oh, well, totally. I mean, this is something, and this is a huge thing I learned, Tucker, in researching this thing, that I was reading this book, because with Land and his group of academics, the CCRU, the Cultural Cybernetic Research Unit, they were very much based off of Genesis Peorage's Temple of Psychic Youth, where the idea comes from Burroughs, which is to use modern tech to its fullest for occult purposes. That the modern magician does not shy away from using the latest tech. That was William Burroughs' thing. There's a great book called The Occult World of William S. Burroughs, and it talks about how he used audio recordings, movies, editing, to try to edit reality, to try to create a glitch in the matrix, or whatever you want to say, to do that. So Land and his guys.
Can I interject and just say you've mentioned Jack Parsons, you've mentioned Bill Burroughs,
all the legends, yeah,
all the legends. But if you look at the life trajectory of all of these people, it ends in poverty, misery, insanity, suicide, addiction, alienation. Like, is there a single person in the world you're now describing?
Christians have never had any of those things.
No, and that was, Tucker, that was one of the reasons that was really surprising researching Land is he mentions this guy, Kenneth Grant, who's a powerful...
Oh my God. How many times are they just going to keep talking about this dude? Okay, let's do... Is war a product of demonic influence? Oh, that's a rhetorical question. Obviously, they're going to say everything's bad is demonic. No, it's not. It's not Abrahamist fighting wars over the Middle East. It's not these different flavors of Abrahamism, which are really just all the same religion at the root, that want these end times wars. No, it's demons and Satan that wants it, not Yahweh. It's not Yahweh's prophecies for all the
Baby Buggy Bumper sent $30. Have you seen Gnostic Informants YouTube stream with TC Schmidt from 3 months ago? Schmidt addresses the authenticity. He thinks it's real, but that the real translation is negative on Jesus and not positive. Felt like it might be up your alley.
Yeah, I have not seen it, but that guy's a Christian. And this is Christian apologetics, trying to claim Josephus is real. Myth Vision doesn't agree with it. Carrier wrote a blog debunking it, and I'm not sure what Neil thinks about it. I have to ask him. Okay. Wait, where are we? 44, 35?
And stuff. Is there a story you've covered in the last few... Or just a story you've covered all, where at the beginning you took a much more secular, much more cut and dried approach to it, that now, if you today had covered that back then, you would see
every story. I mean, especially war, which I have covered in person and certainly talked a lot about over the years. I just saw it as a product, the sort of failure of statecraft and nations act rationally. One country wants this territory either to conquer or to reclaim it, and this country doesn't want to give it up, and so they have a war over it. I had a very secular understanding of war, and it was the First World War that changed my view. Probably 15 years ago.
Secular. What do you have?
It would be 10 years ago.
Jewish understanding of war now.
The anniversary of the outbreak of the war in 1914. There was a series of symposia in Europe on what was that? It destroyed Christian Europe and maybe forever. And the apogee of human civilization was 1913, obviously. Right. And then it was destroyed and it never recovered. And a bunch of other empires fell, including the Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian and all this stuff. It's like it reshuffled the map and gave rise not just to the Second World War, but to the world that we now live in. So how did it start? Gavril Princip kills Archduke Ferdinand and Sarajevo, and but how does it follow?
10,000 likes, 3.6 million views for this crap. Optics. More Abrahamic propaganda. Believe in the Satan and the Antichrist and be scared. Well put. Well put there, Adon. Let's see. What else are people saying about this? Not a whole lot of interest in this one. Says Kabbalah is Neoplatonism, but distorted to affirm Jewish supremacy. All right. These guys are just I'm clicking on the topics and they're not saying anything.
Sure, right. This is the main insight that turned me into a religious person.
Just pontificating.
A tree can only be judged by its fruits. Right. That's it. That's the only way to know.
So the Christian fruits is what converted you to be a Christian? You think the fruits are so good of Christianity, that's why you're a Christian?
Right. Whether something is good or bad is by observing what it produces.
Well, thank you for bringing up trees. So we're gonna do something, Tucker, that I can almost guarantee you would never have been allowed to do on Fox, which is go over Nick Land's pneumogram.
Debate me.
Okay.
We're the real Israelites. Debate me. Some loser, nobody. What, Puerto Rican? Fuck off.
System of divination. The Bible is very much about trees. You have
I've noticed
the garden.
Yes.
You've got the Garden of Eden, Tree of Life, the Tree of Knowledge.
The temple, the interior is cedar.
The cedar of the temple,
just like my sauna.
Jesus,
how about quick clout chasing?
Is
how
a
about
tree.
that?
You've also got trees in the Book of Revelation.
Yes,
that's something. If anyone finds a lot of what we're talking about interesting, it's important to remember that the Book of Revelation. It's been said by biblical teachers like Arthur Payne.
Oh, the Bible's really real, and we're the chosen people, and Jesus isn't Jewish. Debate me. How about you go debate some Christian and stop wasting my time, loser? Little ankle-biting loser.
And others.
And liar.
Revelation is mostly just the previous 65 books of the Bible, almost re-edited it. Even the plagues that take over in Revelation are just the plagues that ancient Israel found under Pharaoh. And like in Exodus,
yeah, let's see it,
Jewish
Jocelyn.
people are under tremendous stress and turmoil, this time from the entire world in the book of Revelation. But it's, this, the more you know about the previous 65, that'll help you with the 66th. So the Bible's, it's about a lot about trees. And so one of Nick Land's favorite things that the CCRU, his academic collective, that they ended up coming through, they say it was a channeling, or it came to them when they were staying at Aleister Crowley's house in England in 1998.
Yeah,
they came up with something called the
Brown
pneumogram. And people listening to this won't be able to see it, but I want you to hold that up. That is his system. That is, if you're familiar with the Kabbalah Tree of Life, are you familiar with that? The symbol of that?
No.
What are we doing?
I probably should have printed that out too.
I wore a red rubber band from a newspaper on my wrist for most of my life.
Oh, wait, we're getting an explanation about this. How did nobody clip this? We're getting a Kabbalah bracelet? Debunk?
Given to me by my father, just because he worked at a newspaper. And I've been accused many times of being in the Kabbalah. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm an Episcopalian to research.
It's Kabbalah. Kabbalah.
Sure.
I don't know shit about Kabbalah, so no, I don't know what the Kabbalah tree is.
Kabbalah.
It's Kabbalah.
It's Kabbalah. I know that's what I said. I'm like, this guy doesn't know the first thing about Kabbalah. Yeah, I know. What's up? Yeah, CIA newspaper. What does wearing a red bracelet have to do with your dad working for a newspaper, though?
So long story short, the new.
Hey, dude, how many accounts does this schizo have? Dude, this is not how you get. Go debate a Christian. Go
Jocelyn
debate
8 sent
somebody that
$5
believes
on
in this
Rumble.
Jewish bullshit.
It's not Jewish knowledge.
Go
It's just
fix
knowledge
them.
Jews collected and obscured.
The numogram is, Nick Land, he was on this podcast about a month ago. I think it's Mikey Downs has this podcast where he finally explained it a little bit. He doesn't show how he uses it specifically, but it's a system of divination.
Jocelyn says it's not Jewish knowledge. It's just knowledge Jews collected and obscured. So it is Jewish then, if they obscured it. So they copied some stuff. They changed it up. It depends on what you're talking about, too, because when I think of Kabbalah, I think of, like, the core of it. The shattered vessels, the sparks of light, the peels, the husk, the klipa. And when I hear somebody try to say that's science or that's magic, I just go, come on. Like, show me the verse in the Zohar that's like magic or like of value. Can you do that, Jocelyn? Show me in any Jewish text where there's this special knowledge. I'm curious of that. And how they obscured it.
That he uses it every 5 minutes to be in contact with the outside, with what he calls the lemurs, which again comes from William Burroughs, which comes from theosophy, and Burroughs has said it's fundamental.
And the lemurs are demons.
Yes, he'll use demons and lemurs. The word lemurs originally goes back to Roman times. It means spirit. So these are the spirits that he hears whispering in his ear, not unlike Crowley's holy guardian angel, which Crowley said would help him dictate books. He said it was a whisper he'd hear in the back of his head after he'd made contact with it. For what it's worth, if people want to look up some of the...
Dude, when people say this, like Donnie Darkand always does this too, and other people, they always talk about these authors that claim they have a demon and they're possessed. Who's the one woman that does this? She's like a blonde woman. She's like a new ager. And she's for years, she's had this grift that she's got some psychic connection with some other entity. These people are just con artists to me. They're schizos or con artists, charlatans, trying to pique interest in people, claiming like, oh, it's not them writing something. It's some demon that they're communicating with. And then these people listen to them and they take it so seriously as if it's real. I laugh these people off like they're kooks and frauds.
Entities Crowley said he was in touch with. One of them, Lamb, in 1917 or so, looks pretty similar to what would later be called a gray alien. It's the yes.
Just to kind of summarize what I think you're saying, from a Christian context, the Holy Spirit is not the only spirit out there that can invade people and determine their actions and attitudes.
No. I mean, as this guy Mikey Downs points out, the relationship of demons to angels is not unlike that of a werewolf to a human. It's something that was something.
Dude, it's these trolls that are coming from some other nobody streamer that try to show in and raid the chat and say, oh, debate. Oh, you're scared to debate this no-name person. Debate me that I'm the real Israelites. Dude, you're not even 0.00000 anything of Christians in the world, and you want to waste your time with this kosher distractions. That's division. None of us here are ever going to fall for your stupid bullshit that the Bible's real and you're the real chosen people or Jesus wasn't Jewish or any of this bullshit. Stop wasting your time. Stop trying to hijack the chat. Fuck off. You're retarded. Nobody cares.
Nelson is now taken on kind of a deformed presence entity. So long story short, the Kabbalah Tree of Life, and this is a reference you're understandably not going to get, Tucker, because it's Nintendo 64. The numogram is essentially the Majora's Mask to the regular Kabbalah Tree of Life's Ocarina of Time. It is the dark, shadowy, upside down, much more heavily satanic version of it. It actually comes from Kenneth Grant, the guy we've been talking about. He wrote a book, Night Side of Eden, I think in 1977. And it was about how while using the Kabbalah Tree of Life, there were these hidden subterranean...
Watch the Collapse podcast, sent $5 on Rumble.
Thanks, buddy.
Hail your ancestors, hail our folk. Jews were never chosen and Yahweh is fake. Controlled op Christ cucks constantly missing the mark. There is no debate. They're objectively wrong. Not worth it.
paths, that there were these more.
Thank you, expose the collapse.
He would say through the tunnels of Set, who kind of not unrelated to Satan.
This guy's just talking about so much shit that it's like a Dungeons and Dragons shit. This guy
to be in contact with stuff. So long story short, with the pneumogram and the way Land uses it. What's important here from just a weirdness perspective, you've got a way to contact heaven, but more importantly, a way to contact hell. And you've got
look at this drawing, man. Hell's totally real. Look at my drawing.
Quite related, but not unrelated to the Roman Polanski Johnny Depp movie, The Ninth Gate, where Depp's character comes in contact with hell. So what they believe is they are literally contacting hell in some cases for divination purposes,
to see the future.
Or just to see anything, just for insight, and that brings us back
for knowledge.
And and he even has a point about the number 666, where a lot of these numbers, he calls it theosophical math. You have triangle numbers, which is if you stack these things like they're a triangle, like the triangle number of 9 is 45. That's why it's 45 there. There are only so many triangle numbers. One of them is 666, and that is the triangle number of 36, which is an important part of the pneumogram. So when Land realized this, he was like, of course it's 666. So what I'm getting at, you are getting involved in heavily, wildly Luciferian stuff. And Land, on this podcast, he says, well, what about people who say you're communicating with Satan, which Land will also talk about being in communication with Satan. He'll say Christians who say that, he goes, I am not.
Dude, these Christian internet e-crusaders are the biggest faggots on the internet. These retards.
Unsympathetic towards that.
Dude,
because they're more right than
pathetic.
most. Because I am in contact with something from the outside. He goes,
Adam's Jewish.
So
Jesus is an Aryan.
I just can't overstate
Go take
how
the mental illness somewhere else, dude. It's fucking.
I mean, I feel sorry for anyone who plays around with that stuff.
Tucker's out of the interview. He's like, okay.
No, but I'm just saying, like anyone who says, I really get a lot of inspiration from a guy who's controlled by Satan. I'm going to leave it to God to decide, what happens to that person. But that person has disqualified himself.
Totally.
In my view, as someone I will listen to. I don't want to be led by that person. Like, we should run away from that person at high speed.
You typically also don't want to put them in charge of your kids, typically. But,
Well, that's kind of it. And it's so funny. You hear people, I get written letters from people a lot every day. And half of them are like, I feel like this country or this world is.
You know what's the most annoying thing about these e-crusader trolls is they don't do anything to stop actual Christianity. They do nothing to stop it. Are they spending their time in any of the YouTube channels that have millions of followers and hundreds of thousands of views, peddling Christianity that you say is not real Christianity? No, you can't do anything there. You don't fix any of that. You don't win those debates. So instead, you try to come and lie and slander and get attention from us, the only people that are actually exposing the whole Jewish bullshit.
On Rumble. Email me. I'll do a 20v1 debate on any of these faggots and then run up a mountain and do 100 push-ups as I'm on you and drink
You're
your
below
Jewish
me.
tears.
Nobody knows who you are. You're a fake. You're a fraud. Yeah, debate watch the collapse. They'll hand you no problem.
Satanists. And on one level, you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah, somebody on your level.
But no, I think they can feel that there are spiritual roots to the destruction of the West.
Oh, totally. I mean, no.
And they're right.
Yeah, go debate Jay Dyer. Go tell Jay Dyer. Go convince Jay Dyer and Nick Fuentes that Jesus was a white Aryan and whites are the real Israelites.
You start playing with this stuff. Is it surprising that people are like ODing on fentanyl on the sidewalk?
This is how you guys try to spend
or that
your
we've imported like 1 million Haitians. Like what is all that? Well, of course it's punishment.
Especially with the.
I know. Yeah. Well, I watched the collapse is way over their level, but that's not what I meant. I meant go debate some of these other guys. You're not worth my time. You're schizo morons. You're schizo morons that are wannabe Jews.
Drugs,
and are pathological
we consider
liars.
Just letting people harm themselves as a kind of compassion or freedom. We can step in and say this is not any sort of good freedom to let people just destroy themselves.
Well, of course it's not, but it's. I mean,
yeah, watch the collapse. I know. I made no disrespect. You would demolish these guys, these schizo nobodies.
It's like it's evil,
right?
Obviously.
Oh, you went to Palestine. You guys are wannabe Jews. You guys think the Bible is real and want everybody to worship Rabbi Yeshua, and you're coping morons. Fuck off.
Letting people kill themselves is evil. If a man's standing on a bridge and gonna jump and you can pull him back.
Loser, nobody trolls.
What is that?
You're saying on some sort of freedom thing. This gets us into the Antichrist question, which has been going on in Silicon Valley.
Before we get into
the Antichrist,
what is the Antichrist?
The Antichrist, in the same way the figure of a Messiah or Christ is prefigured in the Bible. Throughout the Old Testament, you have types, you have figures and stories,
retards on the internet.
And they're real people, but they still prefigure the figure of Jesus. The most famous of which is Joseph, where Joseph famously has 12 brothers. They're all named after the eventual tribes of Israel. He is sold into slavery. By one of the brothers. The one that decides to do that is Judah. Do you know what Judah translated into Greek is?
No.
Judas.
So Judah, like Judas, says, "Hey, I've got an idea. Let's just sell this guy. It's horrible." Joseph is sent, he goes to prison. Like Jesus on the cross with the two thieves, Joseph is with the two prisoners. They're asked famously, what will come of me? They say, "You're a dreamer." And Joseph says to one of them, he says to one of them, "You're going to have you're decapitated, you're going to have your head taken off." Only at a birthday party. Birthday parties, by the way, only mentioned twice in the Bible, both times decapitations. In that story, in Genesis, and then with John.
See, and this is why I don't waste my time with schizo nobody trolls like this, is because all you do are bad faith liars. Calling me Jewish or saying like I work for Jews, that is a bad faith lying cope, and I'm not debating schizophrenic, baseless nonsense like that. That's not an argument. That's 4chan, nobody, anon troll type of bullshit. Fuck off. Nobody cares.
The Baptist, and Salome, whatnot. So anyway, but like with Jesus, Joseph says to the other guy, he goes, "You will actually be lifted."
And change the return laws they had.
Hold on, I missed that. Let's see this. Wow, we're almost 3 hours.
Jews are sent
How do I
$5
read someone who said Jesus? Are you seriously asking that?
They actually follow the Torah and
Your
change the
account name
return
is
laws they
Jesus,
had.
and you're asking me how. Have I not mentioned it 1,000,000 times? He's circumcised.
Roman
He's called King of the
$10.
Jews.
Here's $10 for the troll entertainment segment.
He didn't exactly follow Torah. Yes, he did. All he ever does is cite the Torah in the mythical story, because the whole thing is based on the Torah. Change certain laws. He said not one law or letter would be changed until all is fulfilled. It's a different interpretation on the Torah. It's Torah for the Gentiles. Dude, Jesus is called rabbi. He's impressing the rabbis in the temple. He's celebrating Jewish holidays. Like, have I not been talking about Jesus being Jewish? Did you not watch? Have you never seen one of the compilations? How am I? Do you know how frustrating it is day in and day out to have to talk to these coping idiots about Jesus being Jewish? Every church, every scholar, the whole fucking world knows it without question, besides these lying e-crusaders on the internet. And I'm not saying that's you, Jesus. I don't understand how you could ask me that. Reading the synagogue reading the Torah in synagogues, circumcised, celebrating Jewish holidays, called the Jewish Messiah. It doesn't get more Jewish than that.
Up by Pharaoh. He says to one of the prisoners, "You will be lifted up." This in many ways prefigures Jesus talking with the two thieves, Joseph and Jesus, where he says to one of the thieves, "You will be with me in paradise." He says that to one of them. And then like with Jesus, Joseph, he's now at the right hand of the Father, so to speak. He's at the right hand of Egypt. He's the second in command. And the 12 brothers who are now in peril, the 7 years of famine coming up.
Yeah, he tells the story about Joseph being sold by his brother Judas, and that should be a dead giveaway that it's a fictional story. They're both fictional stories. Nothing in Egypt mentioned a Joseph or any of the Exodus. It's a midrashic retelling of the story, and that's where they got the template and the literary element of Jesus being rejected by Judas.
Up and they're going to be arrested. They see that the man that they rejected, Joseph is that this is the man they're talking to. They thought he was dead.
He is their savior.
Yeah, but he was not just their savior, but it was the one that they rejected previously. That Judah, specifically Judas, was the one that he betrayed and had the idea of getting rid of him. But this is the man that will save them. In the Bible, that story prefigures a lot of the doctrine surrounding Jesus, where the 12
These fucking liars. I have refuted these lies that these people are saying in the chat 6 million times. 6 million times. You guys have heard it. You got the truth, and all you do is keep lying because you're bullshitting, pathological lying frauds. It is literally disgraceful and pathetic. I'd love one of you losers to say it to my face.
Tribes of Israel come to realize that the one that they have rejected is actually their savior.
Did they mention hell yet? Pretending it's not a European goddess whose table in Helheim was full of food and drink for those who died of sickness.
What? Dominic says he's here for the troll entertainment segment. No, dude, I'm about to crash out. About to really crash out. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we know how threatening it is that we don't believe in your magical Jewish fairy tales. We know you're so black-pilled and coping that all you can do is pray for Jesus to come and save you. All you can do is go and troll in chats like mine because you can't do anything about big Christianity and actual Christianity. Go into any church. Hey, if you want to spread the word that Jesus was an Aryan and not Jewish and totally anti-Semitic, well, why don't you go into churches and convince them of that and see how that works out for you? Until you can do that and fix the Christian problem, you're just wasting your time here, like proving my point more than anything. And it's pathetic. These terminally online, I'm sure this is just a handful of these clowns with multiple accounts. What type of loser has all these different accounts and just wants to troll lies? Your life is meaningless and you're pathetic and nobody loves you and everybody thinks you're retarded. Isn't that embarrassing? Are you not ashamed by that?
But also like relief that the Savior so recognizes them. In other words, the Joseph story prefigures the Jesus story.
Yeah.
So the other main prefiguring figure in the Bible is Antichrist. And aspects of him, obviously in what's called the New Testament, but Arthur Pink has a book from 100 years ago.
$5 they have to quadruple down because their whole psychological frame rests on it. The average man is too afraid to die or accept unpredictability in nature and has no right discussing philosophy and religion.
I know. I could literally care. I couldn't care any less about what these mentally ill losers have to say.
Antichrist, which is very influential in evangelical circles. And Arthur Pink was also a theosophist too. So you get into this kind of backside of the same doctrines and stuff.
Yeah. E-Crusaders, as usual, running their interference, trying to protect the big lie, the actual conspiracy. No, the Jews really were magical. No, they were really the chosen people. No, the Bible really is real. Trust the plan. Christ is king. You guys are the worst. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad the audience gets to see the mental illness. I appreciate it.
Theosophist. But whether it's Pharaoh being a type of Antichrist, and again in Exodus the 9 plagues, Pharaoh in Revelation, the plagues come back.
Yeah,
now you have
drink
Antichrist.
a 12-pack a day and
Pharaoh's
pray to be saved.
persecuting the Jewish people. Now the Antichrist is persecuting the Jewish people. The Antichrist is this mysterious figure.
All right, Tamara's reprise. They're incapable of arguing this with actual Christians and priests or any churches, so they rage here. Exactly.
Sent
Impotent
$5
rage.
on Rumble. These e-crusaders are like Taliban. They don't read the Bible. They get their Bible studying from memes on BitChute.
Exactly. Yeah. BitChute Christians. I know. Yeah. Go talk to any Christian on the street. If they were really serious and thought they had the truth, they'd be out trying to win debates against Christians. But no, they're in here trying to keep everybody back on the Jewish plantation. Hey, Goy, don't escape the fucking Jewish reservation. We know your tricks.
figured in the Bible. He's not quite known, but in the same way the Old Testament prophets were familiar with the concept of a Messiah, but didn't know he would be Jesus. So moderns today are...
Of course he believes Jesus is the Messiah. The prophets talked about a Messiah, but they didn't know it would be Jesus. They manufactured the myth of Jesus from the scriptures, from the prophets. There's no disputing it.
Similarly aware of the concept of an Antichrist without being fully aware of who he will actually be. But they have clues and doctrines about who he is. That is a rough, some would say very rough, concept of...
Hey, Adam, you should debate some dude I've never heard of before. Some nobody with 100 followers on X. No. No. How about no?
Forget about the Antichrist, but that is essentially him in the Bible as a type of a person. So, but he is essentially the, unlike Jesus, man of sorrows, totally rejected by the world. The Antichrist will be regarded as a savior, a hero, and temporarily will be received like Jesus, you would thought would be received. So about 3 years ago, as I was doing the show, I was talking with these VCs, and one of them asked me, like, what's your...
Yo, I just realized we hit the goal. Let's go.
Yes! That's awesome!
Thanks, probably might not have hit the goal if the stupid Christian trolls, the E-Crusader, We Was King trolls didn't show up. So thank you, morons.
Take on crypto. And I joked, half joked. I was like, you're asking the wrong guy about crypto and money and stuff like that. And I said, well, a lot of Christians believe that the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, is the mark of the beast. And I said, yeah, it's probably not true. I said, but something I've heard, and something that sounds a lot more like it, is blockchain technology, which is the technology we'll all be using in a few years, for financial transaction, among other things. It's everything's...
Dude, this is the worst. I can't handle any more of him. Spiritual aspects, how to spot the Antichrist. I think that's the other one I listened to. This is the worst interview of all time, and this guy is such a kook, and of course he believes Jesus is real. I love how Tucker has on this nobody Christian kook out of nowhere. Here, let me see what else I have to cover today. Oh, the myth of martyrdom. I didn't get to that. We're going to have to cover that tomorrow. We'll cover all this tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff for a good show tomorrow. We watched way more of this rustling guy and this guy. Let's see. I want to see this.
66 books written by all. There is a festering sore of anti-Jew, anti-Israel sentiment right within the bowels of the MAGA movement. So I got to talk about it because we're all talking Judeo-Christian. We're talking about Holy Spirit. We're talking this language. Well, let's make sure we're biblically congruent. You don't got to be a theologian either to figure this one out. And that is that God invented the idea of Israel. And he invented
Israel.
When he called a guy named...
Seriously, watch the collapse. Was not the gayest interview ever? So bad.
Abraham out of Ur of the Chaldees, which is modern-day Mesopotamia, Iraq. And he brought Abraham and he showed him the borders and boundaries and the real estate of his descendants, Israel. And I'm saying that because Israel is a covenant concept with Almighty God. The book, 66 books, written by all Jews, by the way. The apostle.
Actually, it's written by white people, and they're all Adamic and ruddy and white, and we have the covenant, and we forgot our identity, and those satanic Jews stole our identity, and they started circumcising, but Jesus came for the lost sheep of Israel, and he's going to come and save us all in the end, because the Jew book told us so. That's not really Jewish, because they're just fake Jews. The Jews killed Jesus, but they're the fake Jews. That's the Khazarian synagogue of Satan. You guys, good luck. Yeah. Keep up the mental illness. Run cover for the actual conspiracy a little harder. You wannabe Jew morons. Fuck Jacob. Right, J.K. True.
One of the reasons people think that AI could be it could be part of the anti.
All the church is corrupted and taken over by Jews, but hey, we're going to get a W by Mark of Melbourne in the chat. The Scots are the original Israelites. Look it up. The white people are really from the Middle East. Look it up. Dude, you guys
Antichrist
are so
system.
stupid.
One of the traits the Antichrist
You're a
has
Jew.
is
Hey, debate me. You're a Jew. Debate me. You're a Jew. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. No, I'm not. Oh, yeah, you are. You want to debate that? This is how bad these people's arguments are. Oh, their argument consists of you're a Jew and we're the real Jews. Good luck. Mark Melbourne, I've heard you say too many things that I know are not true. And when you make claims and I go and look them up and they turn out to be bullshit, that you have zero, you saying look it up makes me think it's automatically wrong because you're so dumb.
his ability to understand dark sentences and the use of dark sentences.
Hey, Mark of Melbourne, who believes in Jesus because he wanted a dog and then he got a dog because you're feels.
Is in the Bible, the verb there, one of the only times, 2 or 3 times it's used.
Adam doesn't believe in my blonde hair, blue-eyed Aryan Christ. He must be Jewish. He must be an Edomite. And you wonder why I have no desire to debate such schizophrenia. Yeah, they probably all believe the earth is flat too, right, Virginia Drifter? I'm sure they do. The mental illness does run rampant, Lisa. You were right about that.
It's used for Samson with his riddles. True. Remember Samson? He loves to have like these riddles and make the Philistines try to solve them. But it's also the verb used for being able to answer questions that Solomon can do when the Queen of Sheba visits him. You may remember when the Queen of Sheba visits Solomon, she has these questions for him, and he has such powers of understanding. So that is something that says the Antichrist can do. And if you look at the way that a lot of these machines work, you ask it a question like an oracle, which in many ways it is. In many ways, Tucker, the implications of this, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Oh my God. So now AIs are oracles? Come on, dude. I talk to AI a lot, and it's no oracle. All it does is pull shit from the internet, basically.
So we are building modern idols.
No, these Christians do, these e-crusaders lie way more than Jews. They're way more evil liars than any Jews. I hope the Jews crush, I hope they crush you and you get what you deserve for being such stupid, traitorous, moronic opposition that hands them W's nonstop. That's what I hope for. That's what you got. That's what you morons deserve.
In a sense, but you ask it these questions and it can answer them, and the Antichrist can do that. And so, the level of knowledge that we will get, and people were writing about this over a century ago, Tucker, it'll be like Jesus is on earth in terms of man's understanding of himself, that AI.
I just saw an article that people are creating AI chatbots where you can chat with any biblical figure, and a bunch of people that haven't read the Bible are doing that instead. It's like people really are going to have like a phone app where it knows the whole Bible. It's a AI program to be Jesus. They already have a few of these, and where people are going to have their own personal like Jesus psychologist in their pockets. It's going to get real weird. People are going to get, you thought people who were Christ-cucked in the past, they're going to be extremely Christ-cucked. When their best friend is Jesus, they talk to Jesus all day. Grok Jesus, ChatGPT Jesus.
I will be able to provide answers to questions that we've never understood. Man's relationship, what's the relationship of the soul to the body? How's the soul different from a spirit? Things that like no one could understand, maybe cracking telepathy. We probably are on the verge of all these things that no one has been able to do, but that is for what it's worth.
Well, like there's like large language models, so pretty much like telepathy. It's basically the Jewish Kabbalah. Magic is real. And it's real demons, and it's all according to God's plan. Tucker's like, oh, wow, that's so interesting.
One of the signs of the Antichrist is craft, things work out for a time. Everyone, wealth goes up, understanding, knowledge goes up. And it goes to the fundamental crux of this thing, Gnosticism, knowledge, intelligence. And in what ways does it stand different from faith? Faith being to the spiritual world what the imagination is to the natural world.
So I've got to assume that's not the end of the story, though.
Well, no, not unless you've had the last few pages of your Bible ripped out.
Right. But also not.
Oh my God, Mark. Sorry, you're banned, dude. I don't want to hear your mental illness on my stream. Fuck off.
That ends in tragedy. So in the same way that no one wants to say it.
You went to historical tour of Britain and didn't even see the stone, the Jew stone. the greatest British treasure in my schizophrenic worldview. Dude, Mark, I'm warning you, if you do another one shekel super chat, I'm going to ban you because I don't want any more schizo distractions on my stream. We've heard you enough in the spaces. We're not interested in any more of the mental illness.
But like a lot of really dark, destructive sex stuff is fun while it's going on.
Right.
Like everyone likes the
He does look like a puppet in Team America. That's funny.
threesomes while they're happening, but then it blows up your marriage and leaves your kids without, a family and stuff like that. So
again, I'm more Mario. My knowledge for this stuff is just purely through literature.
No, I'm just
but even the kind of people I know and hang out with, I don't know.
But it's just true. I don't know. I guess you're not supposed to say stuff like that, but I've just
look here. He is.
No, people get up to bad stuff, and it never ends well.
I guess what I'm saying is that things that are bad and destructive, cocaine is a perfect example.
Right.
Vodka is a great example. Are pretty fun at some point.
Oh, totally.
On the continuum.
Right. And again, I know about this through literature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Power of film.
Right. Okay. But the only reason I'm bringing this up is because you're just...
Dude, I want you to think about how big of losers these retarded Christian identity people are. What kind of loser spends their time trolling a chat with mental illness, a chat that's got 500 people in it? You don't have anything better to do with your time than come and troll with a bunch of lies in a chat that you're the true Jews and nobody will listen to you, and you get banned, and then you come back with an alt account and you're sitting there making all these alt accounts and thinking, we got him, we called him a Jew again. You're so pathetic. You guys, I'm sure you're all drunks, you're all abused, you're all living in trailer parks. You're the biggest losers on earth. The worst
Jocelyn
of all
sent
the
$5
Christians.
on Rumble. Christianity is a plagiarism of a plagiarism. It's like a deformed, retarded clone of a clone. We should always focus on origins.
Jesus
Sparkles
Christ.
emoji.
Fuck yeah. Thank you, Jocelyn. I can't wait to hear about the
Optics
magic.
Prime sent $5 on Rumble.
It is.
Christianity is a mental disorder.
Yeah, I know. I should be gentle with these mental patients. We're just, hey guys, hey, E-Crusaders, I get it. You may not be the smartest, the sharpest tools in the shed. I get that you can't read and you probably didn't graduate high school and you probably had a drug problem and that you found comfort in Rabbi Jesus. I'm sure you've done a lot of bad shit in your life and you need Jesus and the magical Jewish blood and to be dipped in the water to be forgiven for all your guilt and your sins. But you've been lied to, okay? We're just trying to save you from the brainwashing, that's all. Okay? Buy my book, watch my compilations. All right? I know, 80 IQ, mixed nons, pretty much. Wotanamos.
Describing the upside.
Right.
But I'm assuming, based on a knowledge of human nature and reality, that like that's not the end of the story.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but
bad.
the Bible's fake, Jewish nonsense, Jewish fairy tales. Okay? I get it's a tough pill to swallow. I get it's hard to admit you've been lied to and that you're a gullible retard. I get that that's difficult, but it's the truth. Don't take it out on me that I'm honest enough to tell it to you.
Yes, I mean, and this is, again, I'm not a biblical scholar, as some
Brother
people
BD sent $5 on Rumble. Tucker Carlson has officially jumped the shark with this interview.
Dude, yes, he did. With this guest alone. Look at this. He's like, I'm not a biblical scholar. I know nothing about the Bible. I just watched a Nick Land podcast, and now I'm just going to be like, oh, yeah.
But I just...
No, people get up to bad stuff, and it never ends well.
I guess what I'm saying is that things that are
attacking white Christians. I'm attacking Jewish mythology. I'm not attacking any white people. I'm trying to save white people from the Jewish brainwashing. Stop lying about what my intent is. You frauds. Stop coping. Oh, you hate white people. You don't worship Rabbi Jesus. You don't want to bow down to the Pope. You hate white people. Like, shut up. You're so stupid and pathetic. We've heard your retarded copes 1,000,000 times. The coming back with the multiple accounts too, you should be embarrassed. That's how pathetic your life is.
Are bad.
Really sad.
Cocaine is a perfect example. Right. Vodka is a great example. Are pretty fun at some point.
Oh, totally.
On the continuum.
Right. And again, I know about this through literature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Power of film.
Right. Okay. But the only reason I'm bringing this up is because you're describing
all right,
the upside.
Mark, you're banned.
But
I told
I'm
you to stop
assuming,
interrupting the
based
show.
on
Fuck off,
a
you
knowledge of
stupid
human
moron.
nature and reality, that like that's not the end of the story. The end of the story is bad.
These Christians
Yes,
can't
I mean,
help
and this
themselves.
is, I mean, again, I'm not a biblical.
Every time I give a Christian like a second chance, a warning and a second chance, they always double down. They can't help it. They
Sleep
can't help
CA
it.
sent $5. No more Jews.
No more Jesus. How about
Scholars.
that?
Some people are probably now very.
No more Jews. No more Jesus.
He's not. But the Antichrist makes a treaty with Israel. He famously breaks it.
Hey, Mark of Melbourne, go move to Israel since you want to worship Jesus so much. Go to your holy land.
The fact that we're letting AI companies run through our governments, and I use OpenAI just it's like saying Photoshop for photo editing, where there's like OpenAI.gov.
No, I said I hope the Jews destroy the Christian identity, morons that lie about me. Oh, you would try to ignore the clear context that I said that in, you frauds.
Or whatever, that we're giving backdoor access, and Elon too.
That's what they'll do. Watch, they always do that.
We're letting guys have entire backdoor
The fact that you have
access to our
periodically been targeted by Christ bots, JIDV, etc. is proof you've been over the target for a while now.
Yeah.
Been following you since 2018. Christianity is slowly dying.
Yeah. Funny how you're not in any of these huge YouTube channels with millions of views and followers telling them that Jesus is a white Aryan that hated the Jews. Funny how you're never fighting that battle.
Onyx Rock sent
Only
$5.
going after the
Accidentally
people
the
that actually
funniest
expose
stream
the
I have
lies.
ever watched. Thank you, retards.
I know. I enjoy it when they show up. It's entertaining to me. If I wasn't enjoying it, I would have wrapped up the show an hour ago.
Higher government.
We're just listening to this moron and his schizo ramblings, listening to a bunch of schizo Christians rambling in the
Creates a
chat.
situation where they could have power over all governments simply because they have all the information on all of them.
Can I ask a foundational question that I should have asked earlier?
Sure.
So the idea behind machine learning is that you take
But I do need to go and
knowledge,
go to the gym.
information created by people,
right,
and you basically take all of it, and then out of that comes the right answer. Okay, but I think you're describing in your description of AI a technology where the sum total of that information is actually bigger than all of that
just the information.
Yeah, you're describing like a husk into which like an independent spirit.
No, I don't want to ignore them, Beowulf. They're sad and pathetic. That's why I want to expose them. That's why.
Right. Well, that's the thing. And to go back to Silicon Valley's obsession with the Antichrist, people talking about that, and just in general. I mean, people understandably think the world's ending across the political divide. And people talk about the Antichrist, but there is in the Bible a kind of dark Trinity: Father, Son, Holy Spirit, where there is
dark Trinity.
You have God the Father, you've got the Son Jesus, you've got the Holy Spirit, and in Revelation you theoretically have Father, you have your father, the devil. You have a Satan, you have a son, Antichrist, and then you've got this third thing, which could either be like the false prophet, or it could be this general spirit. With AI and the idea of making AGI and making a global brain, which they talk about like last week, that's where we're creating a global brain. You could be creating the equivalent of a dark Holy Spirits. It's something that the internet becomes, as many people have written, I think it was Jack Good, the last machine. And they were talking about this in the 19th century. It is the machine to end all machines. It is taking all information. If you're wearing something that has your health data, Tucker, it's taking your health, it knows your financials, it knows everything at all times. It is all knowing in the same, it mimics or mocks the concept of the Holy Spirit. And when they talk about that, like there's this idea of the singularity, the idea when all things will be one. And, there's a lot of definitions for this, but either that the
Yeah,
machine
it sounds like
becomes
he's
smarter
just
than
making it up
humans,
as he
but
goes along.
A lot of them talk about this moment where all of humanity is connected at the same time. What you're essentially talking about is a potentially dark or satanic version of the day of the Pentecost, where after Christ.
Hey, the whole world's connected to the internet. Well, it's like satanic Pentecost. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I think we might have to end it there with this moron. Anything we don't like is demonic, man. Science, satanic. Evolution, satanic. Space, satanic lie. Yeah. Large language models, satanic. Antichrist, demons.
Death, I believe, or maybe it's his resurrection. The Holy Spirit comes down in the book of Acts, and all believers can understand each other. You had a sense of divine unity, unlike the Tower of Babel in Genesis, I believe, 11. You had a symbol of evil unity, and God put an end to. All of men could understand the same language. They were all nations, and they were trying to, be like God by building this tower. Stanley Kubrick, in this book, in this Kafka retelling of the Tower of Babel, Stanley Kubrick wrote in the margins, he goes, "The Tower of Babel is the beginning of the space age." Because it's essentially getting after what we're doing today with the singularity and a lot of this stuff. We're trying to build a modern Babel where all of mankind, same language. I mean, there was this writer, Nicholas Eberstadt, I believe is his name, and he wrote these two books, one about the end of work, men not working, and the other one's about the decline of babies, no one having babies anymore. And I met him at this thing, and I joked to him. I said, your last two books, they're about the reversal of the curses from Eden. The man would have to work by the sweat of his brow, and the women would have to have children. And he busted out laughing. He goes, I never thought. He goes, I never noticed that that's what's going on. So if you look at the modern world and what we're building, essentially what's happening in rapid succession, Tucker, within living memory, some of the curses that are in the Bible that go back to the earliest pages of humanity are being eroded or reversed, leading up to something. People no longer have to work, or they don't work. They choose not to work. But increasingly with AI, man will not have to work again. Having children. Through the pain of labor, women will have to have children. It's not just modern medicine, but people just not having kids. That is also being eroded. The curse in the Tower of Babel, that all people would speak different languages. Thanks to AI, I was with some friends, they're Spanish speaking, they don't speak English. I was putting on the some glasses and showing them that I can understand you, and you can try the glasses on, you can understand me. The language barrier, again, the earliest curses and barriers from the Tower of Babel are all now being reversed. The concept of the singularity, when all will be one and man, will finally fulfill what he tried to do in Babel. And they talk about this. That's what they are attempting to do.
Dude, Babel is a fake story about them building a tower so high that it reaches heaven. What does that have to do with creating an AI that can think? They're not even close to the same thing. This is mental masturbation, like Christian kookery nonsense.
And I forgot to bring this up earlier, but this is time to show it. This is people probably can't see it if they're just listening to the audio.
Oh my God!
This is from Fritz Lang's Metropolis, film from almost 100 years ago.
Look at this
the year. Very influential in Star Wars. The way they bring the machine to life, Tucker. They've got a big old pentagram there. So this idea of using spirituality, using the occult to bring the machine to life, to bring the golem to life, it is very old.
The golem to life.
You've described some of the most powerful people in the world using occult concepts and religions in order to accrue power to themselves. Everyone senses that's happening. You're confirming that it is in fact happening. Right. What are the forces in opposition to that and to all of this? Are they gaining strength? Or are they just supine and defeated?
No, I think, God is sovereign. And that's something to remember for all this stuff. What I'm describing in many ways sounds like a horror movie, but horror as a genre is a world where there are devils, but there is no God and there's no one in control of stuff. There's just terror, but there's no way out of it. God uses all things for his purposes. And so in the case of this stuff,
Oh, there you go. God uses all things for his purpose. Like Satan, he creates Satan to do all these things so he can test you, and it's all according to his plan. This is why the whole thing is stupid. The whole satanic adversary is satanic. It's like, so God made Satan, he works for him, doesn't destroy him, allows him to operate. What are we doing here? Satan is the fake boogeyman of the Jews. That's it. He's Yahweh's controlled opposition in the Jewish construct.
things are, pretty preordained things are preordained by God. So God
Is that a joke, Ram Jones? You use a cross to fight the vampires? Exactly. Because that's totally real. Yeah, exorcisms are totally real. Right?
is allowing these things to happen, and ultimately tools used for his purposes. So, even the Antichrist and even brutally evil things, God is, he is not only allowing these things to happen, but they're also tests of faith. Faith is it's
exactly like I just said. See, well, like all of this, I didn't say evil was fake. I said the satanic character of the Bible is fake. Hear what he just said? Well, it all seems really bad and satanic and dark, but God allows it, and it's to test you, and it's actually good because it came from God.
It's the disappearance of God from your life when you go through times of struggle where it feels like he's not there. And that's all the more powerful to see how much faith you have, is to see God when he's no longer seeable.
Yes.
So that's what's happening, or you could say it's happening on a global
scale. In the specific case of the mark of the beast described in Revelation, as I recall, you probably read it more recently than I, but it's a mark without which you cannot conduct commerce. So basically everyone's compelled to receive the mark, but those who receive the mark make a big mistake in receiving it.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
And they are punished for it.
Oh my God.
In a big way.
Right.
So if we get to a place in the next couple of years, sounds like we are, where you can't participate digitally in commerce or in communications without the mark of the beast, without the permanent mark on the blockchain, like what's your option?
I mean, your option is just not to conduct business and do those things. I mean, God will find a way for those people, even if it's, the end of their lives. That's just the way that's going to shake down.
What? He literally says, Christians, just die. Don't be on the blockchain. Just die. The end of your lives is better. The Jesus blockchain, Jesus. The satanic blockchain. Dude, what an answer. Look at Tucker's face. He's like, oh, you just die? That's our answer? There's no hope. Talk about nihilism.
So, like, that's a hard no.
What
for you?
Tucker, it was at this moment, Tucker realized he fucked
those who receive the mark make a big mistake in receiving it.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
And they are punished for it. So in a big way.
Right.
So if we get to a place in the next couple of years, sounds like we are, where you can't participate digitally in commerce or in communications without the mark of the beast, without the permanent mark on the blockchain, like what's your option?
I mean, your option is just not to conduct business and do those things. I mean, God will find a way for those people, even if it's the end of their lives. That's
God will find a way by killing you because you don't take the mark. Great, thanks, God. God will find a way. If you don't take the mark, well, then God will kill you. Great plan. You're right when you die.
Just the way that's going to shake down.
So, like, that's a hard no.
Yeah. Well,
for you, is it a hard no? If you found out tomorrow, no more Amazon for you, unless you register on the blockchain, what's your response?
I'll just go back to living like what people did back in the old days of 1996. You just chill and read a book, I guess. No, I mean, what'll probably happen too is you will have people in tech, and I know they exist, who are alarmed by this, who will intentionally devise ways around this for people. Similar to people creating catacombs for the persecuted Christians in the early days of the Roman Empire.
Oh my God.
You'll have people who will find ways around this to hack it.
Do you know non-occultists, Christians?
The white hats are going the white hats, man, are going to crack it and hijack the AI code for Jeebus, man, for Jesus. You don't have to die without taking it. The white hat Christians are going to Torba at Gab AI will create the heavenly alternative to the satanic ChatGPT Antichrist system.
In general, I'm like, yeah. Do you know anyone who's not into weird stuff? I'm like, I know people like that, and I've heard people who. I've got a friend, Tucker, who
Thunderstorm 9 sent $5 on Rumble. Only one God is real, Yahweh, but his Canaanite pantheon isn't real. Well, only real for the Egoa gets only one God. Only one God for Egoa, grafted in as a servant of his true children, the Jews.
Sounds great. Isn't that beautiful? Hallelujah. Tucker believes none of this. He just loves money. I agree. Or he works for the CIA or some other institution, and they want him to peddle this goy slop Jesus bullshit.
I'm a Christian in recent years, and he works for some of the big companies, and he goes, some of what and he's works as an engineer. He's like, some of the stuff that you see cannot be explained through normal math material stuff. Some of the stuff that's coming through, and for people
coming through from AI, and for people who want to learn more about this stuff,
CIA
or a good precedent for this. We don't have enough time to go into it. Something that the Oracle of the Astral Force. It was a divination technique.
CIA goy slop.
Like right-wing occultists, Rene Guénon, Julius Evola, people that Steve Bannon's into. They would consult about 100 years ago, and you would give it some your name, your mother's maiden name, and then maybe your birthday. And then this guy would go off and do advanced math for at least 3 hours and come back to you with answers. And were those answers always great? No. But were they enough that people would like it and use it? Yes. Guénon and Evola did it.
Bullshitter?
So, and if you read some of the way the answers he gives, it's very similar to AI. So I bring that up. In terms of the implications of this, which is really important to cover, we are building modern oracles in a sense, and that people are going to be going crazy from this. The Wall Street Journal, I showed this earlier, the thing of people going crazy with the
Dude,
talking to ChatGPT.
I got the documents. You watch Alex Jones. He's like, I printed up the documents. Tucker's face is like, this guy's a fucking...
which is something from a Timothy Leary channeled book he wrote in prison in 1972. It's very out there. And they're mentioning, this is from Wall Street Journal again, the Antichrist will come up from the pit in 2 months, and people are underground ready to emerge. I bring that up, Tucker. These are like old occult ideas from the 19th century that, people can look up Synarchy. My friend Rick Spence does a whole episode of that on his podcast, Strange as It Seems. Synarchy, total government.
Yeah, right. I know people are talking about that. He has 1,000 followers on X and like no YouTube channel or book or nobody knows. Is this just one of Tucker's kooky friends, or is he in the CIA, or what is going on here?
These occult ideas, as my friend Rick Spence said when I talked to him about Nick Land, he said none of this stuff is really that new. He goes, these are occult concepts given a techno jargon name.
Conrad Flynn, thank you.
Can I plug my Substack really quick?
I hope you will.
Substack. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing launching my Substack soon. If you like,
doesn't even have it. He's going to be launching it soon. Doesn't even have a Substack or a book or a YouTube channel or any following on X, but somehow Tucker decided to have them on.
9 sent $5 on Rumble. 2 CIA agents, 1 cup.
Probably. They're like, hey man, put some more retardation out there about demons and satanic AI takeovers.
Reading about secret histories.
Yeah.
It's not all weird stuff. Some of it's wholesome. Most of it will be wholesome. It's all wholesome. Secret histories about Hollywood, some politics, some tech stuff. I think we're going.
All right. Enough. All right. That is all we have for today. Appreciate everybody for the support. Huge support today. Big shout out. Thank you.
They're nice.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, baby.
Thank y'all. Come again.
I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, covering what we didn't cover today and what other news developments happen. I'll be working. The book is so close to being done now, guys, and it's so good. It's a lot longer now. I can't wait to you all to get it as soon as possible. I am working my hardest to get it finished, but you can't rush. You can't rush a masterpiece. That's what That's what they say. You can't rush a masterpiece. So I appreciate you all. I hope you guys have a nice night. Let me know what you think in the comments. Clip the show, share the link, sign up for Subscribe Star. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks for the trolls for stopping by. That was entertaining. That gave me a little bit of entertainment. And I will see you guys later.